Divine Sword of the Douluo Spiritual Pearl. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226. Tang Heo compromise Ning Feng's conditions. Blow up the ring. I'll make you so lonely today. Tianlin's third soul ring shined, and the formation of Feng Shu spread rapidly. How is that possible? Tang Heo was suddenly shocked. He relied on the strength boosted by the explosive ring to disappear in an instant. The huge Sumeru hammer that Tang Heo had originally condensed began to shrink visibly to the naked eye. Without the support of the power of the ring explosion, this move of the Sumeru hammer had no power at all. Shenzhen didn't even use the ordinary 7 kills sword technique, let alone the 7 kills sword technique. The 7 kills sword just blocked Tang Heo slightly and knocked him back. This is absolute soul power suppression. Tang Heo said in shock, such a strong soul power. Even if I lose the explosive ring, my big Sumeru hammer will never be so easy to pick up, unless his level has reached 90. Level 7 or above. Tang Heo, even if I fight alone now, I can kill you, but I don't want to waste this time. Besides, you didn't really attack the eagle at the beginning. Our Qibao glazed sect has always avenged us as much as we want. How much hatred? Shenzhen said calmly. He knew that Ning Fengzi planned to use Tang Heo, so he had no intention of actually killing him today. I still say the same thing. Whether it's Yin's soul bone or the sect's inherited soul bone, I can't give it to outsiders. However, I'm willing to compensate yin yang. Give me some time, and I will give other soul bones. Bones come. The form is stronger than the human being. Tang Heo still has a great revenge to avenge, and he also has to take care of Yin, so he has to give in a little, but his bottom line is also there. Only for Yin and Haoshan sect, we will never give in. The worst possible outcome is that everything will be lost today. Okay, but I still say what I said. The incident caused by the 100,000-year soul beast will also take 100,000 years to pay back. But for the sake of the 3 sects being connected with the same spirit, I can give you a 30% discount. Ning Fengzi decided, within 3 years, you can give me 1 70,000-year-old soul bone, 2 35,000-year-old soul bones, or even 71,000-year-old soul bones. In short, after more than 70,000 years, the matter will be settled. Tang Heo nodded. Thank you very much. I agree to your request. At first, I forced Yin Yang to take the martial soul oath. Now, I will give you one back. No, I still believe in your promise to Haoshan Douluo, and since we can find you now, we can also find you at any time in the future. If you break your promise, it will not be as simple as today. Past, and I have another request. You can obtain soul bones, but you cannot hunt soul beasts for soul bones at will, or attack other ordinary innocent soul masters who possess soul bones. Such killings cannot be allowed to me. The 7 Treasures Glazed sect is burdened with you. If you let me know that you are going on a killing spree for the sake of soul bones, then not only will I not accept it, but the 7 Treasures Glazed sect will definitely hunt you to the ends of the earth. Ning Fengzi gave a final warning in a cold voice. I didn't expect that he, an auxiliary soul master, could exude such astonishing murderous aura. HMPH. Don't worry, I have my own way. Tang Heo had no intention of doing this. In addition to being a disciple of the Haoshan sect, he also had other identities. He was the master of the Force clan, and one of the 3 great craftsmen in the continent. In addition, Taitan is also the vice president of the Blacksmiths Association, and has a close relationship with Lao Gao. It is not completely impossible to combine the power of the 3 great craftsmen to create a lot of top quality equipment in exchange for a few soul bones. Furthermore, Ning Fengzi said that innocent soul masters cannot be killed, but there are still many evil soul masters and wolf thieves on this continent, but in most cases they are afraid of the Wuhan Palace and do not dare to do evil. That's all. As long as you go to the fringe areas that are beyond the control of Wuhan Palace, you can always find some. They usually rely on hunting wild soul beasts to obtain soul bones, or robbing other soul masters for a living, and maybe they have some in stock. His idea was quite good. Daimubei's first soul bone in the original novel was obtained by killing the wolf bandits on their way to the edge of the continent to go to Sea Point. This does not violate Ning Feng's request, and it can be regarded as eliminating harm for the people. Okay, let's say goodbye today. Ning Fengzi nodded, stood on Chen Xin's long sword, and suddenly turned around and said, by the way, Tang Heo, find time to go back to Haoshan sect. Wuhan, the ambition of the palace is obvious, and the Haoshan sect has been hiding for a long enough time. But if you can hide for a while, you can't hide for a lifetime, so it's time to come out and wander around. His original idea remained unchanged, and he wanted to pull the Haoshan sect out to ward off the disaster, but this time, it happened to coincide with Tang Heo, because Tang Heo also wanted to help the sect rise again. Is this submissive luck now the same Haoshan sect that dominated the world back then? I understand, thank you for the reminder. Tang Heo agreed. The four of them said nothing more, and Yu Jian left. Looking at their backs, Tang Heo's face turned ugly. This was the first time in his life that he had compromised. What made him even more curious was how the Seven Treasures Glazed sect found him. He was very sure that when they took Tangsun to escape from the spirit hall, no one was following them. He suspected that Tangsun had been tampered with, so he immediately checked him. But unfortunately, everything about Tangsun was normal, and he found nothing that is natural. Even for Haoshan Douluo, it is absolutely impossible to discover traces of a million-year-old soul skill. This is 10 times longer than the age of his 9th soul ring. Father. At this time, Tangsun slowly woke up. Tianlin's mental shock was not heavy to begin with. With his mental strength, he wouldn't be able to faint for long. Where are Jun, Tianlin and the others? Tangsun asked. Let's go. Don't worry, the matter has been resolved. You can continue practicing. Tang Heo did not intend to tell Tangsun what happened. Firstly, it was because he was afraid that Tangsun would be in danger if he followed him to hunt down the evil soul master and the wolf bandit. Secondly, he was afraid that he would start to cause trouble for the Qibao Glazed sect. After all, their real enemy was the spirit hall. At this time, it is not suitable to provoke more powerful enemies. Although Tang Heo's tone was calm, Tangsun was so shrewd. He had no less experience than Tang Heo in 2 lifetimes. He could hear that Tang Heo's seemingly plain words still contained anger. Obviously, even if Tang Heo did not hand over his mother's soul bone, he must have agreed to some conditions of the Qibao Glazed sect. Abominable. Qibao Glazed sect. Abominable. Jun Tianlin. Tangsun's expression didn't change at all, but he couldn't help roaring in his heart. Wasn't he just forcing his grandfather to swear a poisonous oath? But he didn't really take action. Now he actually asked his father to pay compensation. He would one day recover this debt for his father, but when he thought of the blood-red 100,000-year-old soul rings of Ning Fengzi and Jun Tianlin, he felt powerless again. The Seven Treasures Glazed sect was too strong. Now, let alone the entire sect, he could not even take a look at Jun Tianlin. Unstoppable. It would be great if I also had 100,000-year soul ring. Tangsun felt an indescribable feeling of envy and jealousy in his heart. Chapter 227. Ning Feng's plan. Tianlin's current shortcomings. Uncle Ning, why do you want to give Tang Heo any discount? Isn't it better to give him 100,000 years instead of losing his soul bones in vain? On the way back, Tianlin finally couldn't help but ask. He didn't want to open that convenient door for Tang Heo at all. Ning Fengzi said, compared to empty promises, only what we get is ours. 100,000 years is too long, and soul bones are hard to come by. With Tang Heo's personality, if we can't get them together, then he won't do anything about installment payments, because he will be worried that, even if he gives us a 90,000-year-old soul bone, but we can't find it after the last 10,000 years, we will still make trouble for him. Then wouldn't the 90,000-year-old soul bone given to us first be an enemy? Therefore, he will definitely collect enough years before delivering it in one go. Ning Fengzi explained. 70,000 years. I don't think it is a problem for Tang Heo. His most loyal subordinate, Titan, has a 35,000-year-old right arm bone of the giant and emperor. That is what Titan is hunting him for. He accidentally obtained the 8th soul ring, but he did not absorb it himself, and planned to leave it to his grandson Taelang. However, because of the principle that a man is not guilty of a crime, he was worried that Tianlin would be assassinated, and his bones were taken after accidentally leaking it. So he has always been he keeps it himself, and plans to wait for Tianlin to break through level 50 or above, and then let him absorb it, after he has a certain ability to protect himself. But if Tang Heo wants it, then Titan will definitely give it to him. Then Jinxin City will hold a blacksmith competition in a year. According to the information I got, the winner of this competition will get a soul bone. Although I don't know the age, it should not be less than 10,000 years. It's a pity that we the blacksmiths of the Qibao Glazed sect are very ordinary, and they have no chance of winning, even if they participate in the competition. So let Tang Heo help us get it. In this way, the total age of the soul bones has reached about 50,000 years, and there are only 20,000 years left. With Sword Douluo's ability, whether he goes to the auction house to buy it, goes to the evil soul master or the wolf to steal it, well, after thinking about it, it is not impossible to get this, so I deduce that 3 years, a total of 70,000 years is the limit that he can meet. No matter how much more, besides killing the soul beasts, the only way is to let him. The only way to get downgraded is to cut off his hands. With his pride, he will not humble himself to such an extent. Feng's he once again plotted against others. Tianlin admitted that he was right. Only what he got into his hands was his. If Tang Heo couldn't get 100,000 years, he would definitely not give a piece of it. It would be better to be pragmatic and give him a request that he can fulfill. And this is equivalent to giving him a big stick first and then a sweet date. Feng's gave him a discount first and did not need him to take the martial soul oath to express his trust. With Tang Heo's IQ, I'm afraid that Feng's has been unknowingly betrayed by Feng's. Feng's was taken astray and felt that Feng's was a good person who valued his family as much as he did. Although he had to stand up for his family, he still cared about the friendship between the 3 sects in his heart point. But Tianlin was curious about one thing. How did Feng's know about the situation in Titan's family? 35,000 years of soul bones were a priceless treasure. Titan couldn't possibly leak it out stupidly. I'm afraid even Tianlin's grandson might not know. As if seeing Tianlin's doubts, Feng's smiled and said, "You don't have to be surprised. When Titan hunted for the 8th soul ring, his original target was a soul beast that was at least 70,000 years old, but at that time he was only at the soul saint level. His strength was not enough, so he went to our 7 treasures glazed tile sect and asked us to send a soul master from the 7 treasures glazed tile pagoda to assist him. I did not refuse, so at that time, I sent a direct disciple to accompany him along with Elder Yin Yang went. It turns out that it is too rare for soul beasts that are more than 70,000 years old to be of the strength type. The only one that can be confirmed is the Titan ape. Even if the 3 of them are tied together, they are no match for the Titan ape. In the end, they have to retreat. The next best thing was to choose a 35,000-year-old thousand giant. Unexpectedly, in a twist of events, a piece of soul bone was revealed. Our Qibao Glazed sect never does anything by force, so we agreed to keep it a secret for him. Apart from Tate himself, the only one who knows about this is our Qibao Glazed sect. Feng's is so scary. He remembers everything so clearly. I think that when Tianlin said he wanted to settle the score with Tang Heo, he had already thought of how to trick Tang Heo, and he still wanted to trick him and let him take him with him. Degree of gratitude point. Sure enough, he was the boss among the group. Chenzin was the thug, Yin Yang was the tormentor, and Tianlin was the leader. Ocean, don't feel that you are losing money. For the remaining 60,000 years, I will find an opportunity to make him spit it out. Feng's he said. Tianlin was stunned and asked, 60,000 years? Isn't it 30,000 years? Did I fail the math test again? You have to charge some interest. Feng's he said with a smile. In the face of high quality soul bones, he completely forgot about the saying that the 3 sects were connected with the same spirit. Anyway, he never thought about truly the alliance with the Haoshan sect is just to use each other. As long as the lives of Tang Heo and his son are not really killed for the time being, nothing will happen to Tang Zhao. As for those Haoshan elders, I'm afraid some of them want Tang Heo to die. Damn it, I didn't expect Uncle Ning to be so vengeful. I cheated Uncle Ning because of the Zuking incident. He won't remember it. With his IQ, I can't beat him. After hearing Ning Feng's his plan, Tianlin lamented silently in his heart. Xiaoshan, don't worry, my brain will not be used to plot against my own people. If you have anything to do in the future, you can actually tell me directly. You don't have to play first and then tell me. As long as your request is reasonable, I may not agree to it. Ah. Looking at Tianlin's expression, Ning Fengzi slowly spoke to comfort him. But his comfort made Tianlin feel thunderous. Sure enough, he still remembered it. Xiaoshan, your sect leader brought his own skull, and the soul bone skill is mind reading. Although I have no proof, I'm very sure. Qian Mengbinken said confidently, if he did not have such a soul skill, why would he treat everyone calculative to the core? Well, Uncle Ning, you and the master should go back first. I have to go to the Ice and Fire Eyes. I have to fulfill my promise to Blue Silver King. I'm leaving first. Tianlin just wanted to say something at the moment. Without waiting for Ning Fengzi to reply, the magic sword changed direction and flew towards Sunset Forest. Fengzi, you seem to have scared Xiaoshan. Chenzin said helplessly, haha, what he will do in the future will be dangerous. There are many smarter people than me in the two empires and Wuhan Palace. If he wants to achieve great things, he must learn to adapt to calculations and in turn calculate others' talents. Okay. Ning Fengzi said calmly, pointing Ning Fengzi's view. There is no doubt about Tianlin's talent in martial arts cultivation. As long as he is given time, it will be a matter of time before he reaches the top of the continent point. But he also has several huge flaws now. The first is that he doesn't know how to calculate. Tianlin is quite smart, but it's a pity that he is just a little smart and does not have the wisdom to take one step at a time and see 3 steps at a time. In this regard, he still has to help him. The second is troublesome. Well, that means he is not ruthless enough and always likes to leave 3 points of leeway when doing things. When he went out for training with Chenzin, unless he was sure that his opponent was a treacherous person or a powerful enemy that could threaten his life, he would never kill him, even if some gangsters provoked him without opening his eyes. The most he can do is throw a few punches. If Tianlin just wanted to be a protector of the sect, then it would be okay to have this flaw. Instead, it could be regarded as a benevolent advantage. But now his goal is to promote the unification of the entire continent. The so-called destruction and then establishment. This dream must be accompanied by endless killing. His now somewhat womanly thoughts are very deadly. Because the enemies on the road to dreams are not all evil people, nor are they all strong. Some are just ordinary soldiers with different stances. When the time comes, will he still be so merciful? If it is not done well, a farmer snake situation will arise, causing harm to others and ourselves. What Ning Fengzi was thinking now was how to make Tianlin become as decisive as Chenzin. Otherwise, with a scabbard on the sword, who can be killed? Chapter 228 Transplantation of the Blue Silver King in Ming's Devil Training. After parting ways with Ning Fengzi and others, Tianlin went to the Ice and Fire Eye alone, and as agreed, planted the Blue Silver King in the best location. The first soul skill of the Holy Spirit bead. The Holy Breath will cause more damage. Tianlin opened the Holy Spirit domain and used the Holy Spirit Pearl's healing soul skill. This soul skill could not only heal injuries, but also replenish ki and blood point at this time. Blue Silver King was just like Yin, who had absorbed Tang San's essence and blood in the original work, and his recovery efficiency had been greatly improved. The small blue silver grass trembled slightly, as if expressing gratitude to Tianlin. Tianlin did force it to sacrifice, but his compensation gave Blue Silver King a better future. So Blue Silver King actually didn't have any hatred for Tianlin in his heart. Tianlin will also use his Holy Spirit domain from time to time to help it grow as promised. After all, the Ice and Fire Eyes are extremely beneficial not only to the Blue Silver King, but also to Tianlin itself. The power of Ice and Fire here is extremely rich, which can well make up for the slowness of ultimate attribute cultivation. But now, Tianlin really encountered a big bottleneck. Level 60 to level 70 is indeed the biggest test of ultimate attributes. Even with the help of the 2 eyes of Ice and Fire, my soul power growth rate is still not even 70% of the original. Tianlin meditated. After half a day, I found that, even if he had the environment and domain, his current cultivation speed was at most similar to that of an ordinary 7th level innate soul master originally. This speed could not be considered slow, but Tianlin hoped that he could break through the 70 level bottleneck before the soul hunting operation point. In this way, the martial god summoned will be close to the contra level himself point like Chuhuagwen, whose strength had degraded to around level 91. He originally needed to have the confidence to kill the opponent after consuming a lot of soul power, but if he had been himself during the contra period, killing him would have been like picking something out of a bag. Only with this kind of strength can we truly do our part in the soul hunting operation. Tianlin stood up and shook his head helplessly. Forget it, there is nothing we can do about the slow progress of cultivation. Although the ultimate attributes are powerful, every gain must come with a loss. Senior, even if you are practicing here now, the aura of the Holy Spirit I have left is enough to last for several months. After bidding farewell to the Blue Silver King, Tianlin Yujian flew back to the Qibao Glazed Sect point. At this time, a very tragic scene was being staged here. Ever since Ning Fengxi and others agreed to hand Mahanjin over to Qinming, Qinming began to train him inhumanely. Of course, it was very effective. It didn't take long for Mahanjin to have actual combat ability. Not a small improvement point after all. They are both explosive flame soul masters, and Qinming's many combat experiences are worth learning from Mahanjin. Upon seeing this, Ning Fengxi later gave Ning Rangrong, Meng Yiren, and Oscar to him for training. You guys all move, Rangrong. Although your footwork is wonderful, the range of movements is too large, which consumes a lot of physical strength. When Tianlin uses your footwork, he can keep your movements to a minimum. From now on, I will keep attacking you with firebombs, and you must learn how to dodge the attacks with the most concise movements. Oscar, you can eat your mushroom sausages and invisible sausages by yourself first, so that you can hand the sausages to your teammates as quickly and secretly as possible. Who told you to throw them one by one? Not to mention how time consuming it is. It's easy to be intercepted by your opponent. Do you want to capitalize on the enemy? Mahanjin, in addition to meditating and learning explosive fighting methods from me, you will spend the rest of your time exercising to help me lose weight. The most important thing for an explosive soul master is to hit the opponent. Otherwise, we who are not strong in continuing the fight, well, it's easy to fall into passivity, and you have to stay in shape to be more mobile. Everything else is still good. You are very proficient in using the self-created soul skills inherited from your family, but your soul power progress is beginning to lag behind others. You must know that soul power is the foundation of everything. From today on, your meditation time 2 more hours. Qinming roared one after another, causing the children of the former Shrek to suffer unspeakably. This was simply more extreme than the master. The master just made them run in circles, but Qinming's training was too targeted. Guran and Yilangling had already returned to the sect at this time. They didn't want to get involved. After finally surviving Qinming's hands, could they get into it again? Because they were hot-headed. Guran didn't even want to take care of his eldest sister anymore, so he took Lingling away from this place of right and wrong as soon as possible. Teacher Qin, you are still so strict. Tianlin landed on the square with his sword in hand. Seeing him come back, Ning Rangrong, Mahanjin and others seemed to have seen a savior. Mahanjin knelt down at Tianlin's feet and begged, "Boss, help me, please chop off my hand. I don't want this flame right arm soul bone, as long as it can liberate me from Senior Qin's hands. Just come out, okay?" Tianlin smiled, but to peel off the soul bone, you need to wait until you are level 90 before you can peel it off at a lower level of 10. Before that, you should just accept your fate. Hearing Tianlin's words, Mahanjin was desperate. After level 90, he would have to wait until the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. He suddenly envied Zhu Zuking. Because of her fake death, she could not be exposed to others. She had been practicing alone in the bamboo forest. Except for a few of them who would send some daily necessities from time to time, no one else would disturb her. Brother Jian, you, Guran, and sister Lingling have all lived like this before. No wonder everyone in Yuhuang Dao has such a strong fighting ability. Ning Rangrang sighed. Oscar and Meng still nodded in tacit understanding. Ming's individual targeted training method was indeed much more effective than the master's cooperative training method centered on tanks and point under Ming's training. They have made great progress. In more than a year, Mahanjan and Oscar have reached level 47, and Ning Rangrang has reached level 50. They are preparing to hunt in the past few days. The Soul Beast has advanced to the Soul King. Due to the limitation of his talent, Meng Yiren has gradually started to fall behind in level, but at this moment, he is still at level 44, which can be regarded as excellent in other places not only in terms of soul power improvement, their actual combat capabilities have also become much stronger. If they were to fight the original Xingluo Royal Academy again, they might not lose. Tianlin touched Ning Rangrang's hair and smiled. Teacher Qin's training is a bit hard, but the effect is definitely immediate. As the future sect master, you can't be lazy, you have to play a representative role. Although Tianlin doted on Ning Rangrang, in terms of cultivation, this time he supported Qinming, and exchanged a moment of hard work for a lifetime of strength. Why not do this deal? Chapter 229 Tianlin's decision. Rangrang and the others have worked so hard, and I must find a way to quickly improve my strength, but now I have reached a bottleneck in terms of soul power and swordsmanship. Looking at the hard work of everyone, Tianlin was very distressed. If there is no soul hunting operation, and no soul hall, then this is not a problem at all. Give him 5 years and he can easily overcome it. But now, he must improve himself quickly, to cope with various battles in the future. Brother Jian, what's wrong with you? Seeing Tianlin frowning all the time, Ning Rangrang asked softly, while stretching out her hand to smooth it for him. She and Tianlin had grown up together. Her brother Jian had always been so fearless and confident. This was the first time she had seen this worried and distressed look. Boss, if you are in any trouble, tell me and I will help you carry it. Mahanjan stood up, patted his chest, and said loyally. Guran couldn't bear this anymore. My boss's affairs need to be handled by you. Go to the back and line up. I'm the boss's #1 younger brother. Boss, just give me your orders. If you need anything, don't pay attention to this fat man. He's not as strong as me. Looking at the flattering Guran, Mahanjan couldn't help but mutter, isn't he just a few years older than me? When I get to your age, I will definitely be better than you. Although the little fat man spoke very softly, Tianlin could still hear clearly with his sharp ears. He could not deny that what Mahanjan said was true. Although Guran is his most loyal younger brother, his qualifications are far inferior to Mahanjan, who also took the grass jelly, and even Yu Xianheng is inferior to Mahanjan. Among so many people, only Ning Rangrang's qualifications can surpass him. However, due to the difficulty of training in the auxiliary system, their training speed is actually only between the two. With strong qualifications, a unique martial spirit, and now coupled with Teacher Qin's supervision and guidance, maybe Hangjun, the little fat guy, can achieve the status of a first-class god. That is beyond the reach of the original work. Tianlin thought secretly. That's right. Got suddenly awakened by his own thoughts. How could he forget that the way to quickly improve his strength is of course the divine test. Thank you, Hangjun. Guran, you should continue to practice hard. I have something to do, and I have to leave first. Tianlin thanked the two of them, and hurriedly pulled Ning Rangrang towards the Seven Treasures Hall. Boss, what's wrong with him? Did we do anything to help him? Mahanjan looked confused. Guran also shook his head in confusion. I don't know. Could it be that you are sick again? Yi. Lingling couldn't help but hit him on the back of the head and said angrily, Xiaoshan is not like you. His brain is always twitching. Looking at his appearance just now, it was a sign of sudden enlightenment. I think he has realized something. As she said, Tianlin is constantly thinking about the gods in his heart. With his current strength and talent, it should not be difficult to win the favor of the gods. Although the Shushan and Hualiang lineage's skills can be cultivated to the extreme, they can also achieve immortality, but it is too difficult. Looking at the major protagonists in the world of immortal swords, there are a few who have succeeded in cultivating immortals, such as Mirren Xiang and Zhu Changqing. Other people with such outstanding talents, such as Li Xiaoyao, Zhuan Zhao, Jian Yunfen, etc., have never been able to truly achieve enlightenment and become immortals. Tianlin does not think that he will be able to catch up with them in a short time on his journey to becoming immortals, not to mention his qualifications. His state of mind is also completely different. He has too many worries in his heart and his obsession with becoming an immortal is not deep. Therefore, inheriting the divine status is the fastest way for him. After becoming a god, he will have an endless lifespan and then study the path of immortality. Brother Jian, where are you taking me with you? Ning Rangrang was being pulled away by Tianlin and finally couldn't help but asked out of curiosity. I want to go somewhere, but I'm afraid that Uncle Ning and Master won't agree, so I hope you can help me beg for mercy later. After all, you are the one they love most. Tianlin explained. Wait, if you want me to plead, tell me first, where are you going? Ning Rangrang is not a fool. Since it is a place that even Grandpa Jian may object to, it must be extremely dangerous. How could she be so easy? She pleads for Tianlin. What will she do if Tianlin is in danger? Tianlin stopped and said frankly, this place is called the City of Killing. Anyway, he didn't intend to hide this from Ning Rangrang. Ning Rangrang was shocked after hearing this. City of Killing? Are you talking about that paradise of sin that claims to be killing people all the time? As the eldest lady of the Qibao Glazed sect, she has read the sect's classics and the most dangerous places in the Douluo Continent, such as the Star Forest, the Sunset Forest, the Death Canyon, and the Far North. It is this killing city. The Qibao Glazed sect does not have the detailed information inside, but just one sentence, killing all the time, makes people feel chills all over. No, I won't plead for you, and I don't agree with you going there, Brother Jian. Ning Rangrang firmly opposed Tianlin's decision for the first time. After all, that place was too dangerous. Rang, listen to me. I have to go there, because there is a very important thing there. As long as I succeed in getting it, it will be of great benefit to both my future and the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Tianlin patiently explained and persuaded. Besides, there is not really a narrow escape from death there. Two people came out of there back then and gained unparalleled strength. One of them is the current Pope of Wuhan Palace, Bibi Dang, and the other is Haoshan Douluo Tang Hao. In your heart, does your brother Jian's potential not compare to them? This Ning Rangrang said nothing. In her heart, her brother Jian was of course the best, but if she was asked to help him go to a place like that, no matter how steadfast Tianlin was, she wouldn't feel at ease. Tianlin didn't wait for her to reply, so he pulled her and continued walking towards the Qibao Hall. At this time, Ning Rangrang was like a puppet on strings, not saying a word. It seemed that she was still struggling in her heart. Arriving at the Qibao Hall, the atmosphere here didn't seem to be very good. Ning Fengxi and the four titled Douluo were all there, but they all had straight faces, as if they had just had a quarrel. It's hard to imagine what could make these brothers who usually respect each other so angry. Uncle Ning, Master, Grandpas, Tianlin pays my respects. Tianlin stepped forward and said, yes. Ning Fengxi nodded. You came just in time. We are discussing something related to you, but we all have our own opinions, so the discussion can't produce any results. Now, it's up to you to decide. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230 Tianlin's target. You're a god. I also have something to ask you, but since you also have something to explain, Uncle Ning, please tell me first. Tianlin also wanted to know what could make these family members quarrel like this. Before Ning Fengxi could speak, the impatient Gurang couldn't help it. Just now Fengxi and the old swordsman said that they would send you to a place for training. That place is one of the best GD in our Douluo Continent. In recent years, in the past 10 years, countless soul masters have entered, but only 2 have successfully come out, so old Poison Eagle and I both disagree. Dubu Bo nodded. With your talent, little monster, as long as you practice step by step, you will reach the top sooner or later. There is no need to go there to experience anything. Oh, Grandpa Bones, old monster, aren't you talking about the killing city? Tianlin asked tentatively. There are only 2 people out of this dangerous GD place. It sounds like a killing place. Gurang's eyes widened. How do you know? That Feng Zhi has already told you. Sure. Enough. It seemed that Tianlin was the one who brought Ning Rangrang here. It turned out that Chen Xin and Ning Fengzi had planned to send him there. Ning Fengzi wanted Tianlin to change his character. Although he practiced the 7 kills sword technique, when he used his sword, he was never ruthless enough. If he did not attack the enemy's vital points, it would not count as a killing sword technique. Chen Xin is very clear that the 7 kills sword technique is easy to practice, but the 7 kills sword technique is not good. This is a killing sword technique. Although it will not turn the practitioner into a cold-blooded and ruthless villain, the murderous intent is not strong enough. It is difficult for people to even get started. I think back then, Tianlin had mastered the 7 kills sword technique in just a few months, but he still couldn't master the 7 kills sword technique after a whole year. Therefore, Chen Xin understood that now his disciple could not master it, no matter his cultivation or sword technique. No longer working behind closed doors, he must go to a place that is dangerous enough, where they can't help, and where there is no other way out, in order to push out his full potential, and he believes that Tianlin will definitely be able to come out of there alive. Tianlin took advantage of the situation and said, Uncle Ning hasn't told me about this yet, but it coincides with my thoughts. I'm here this time to ask you to allow me to go to the killing city to experience what, little monster, you want to go to? I just said that, with your talent, Douluo. Bo still wanted to persuade, but Tianlin interrupted. I know what you want to say, old monster, but there is not enough time. I must become stronger in a short time. Tianlin vaguely reminded him not to forget the soul hunting operation. Furthermore, I have heard that this city of killing is the inheritance place left by a 100-level strong man after he became a god. Perhaps I can find my own opportunity there. Hearing this, several people understood that Tianlin's ambition was far greater than they imagined. Ning Fengzi just wanted to temper Tianlin's character, while Chen Xin wanted him to learn a deeper level of swordsmanship. But Tianlin's goal is to find the inheritance of the divine throne in the killing city and become a god. They have to admit that with Tianlin's talent, as long as he finds it, there is still a high possibility of being favored by the gods. Ning Fengzi praised. Well, being so ambitious doesn't mean I'm living up to your amazing talent. Uncle Douluo, Uncle Gu, and Uncle Hing, you have nothing to say now, right? Gu. Rang shook his head. What else can we say? If we stop him, it will become a roadblock in Xiaoshan's life. Yin, Yang and Qibao also fell silent. If it was about other things, it would be okay to talk about it, but becoming a god is the highest ideal of all soul masters in Douluo Continent. A young man now has to take his first step for this ideal. Even if the road ahead is full of thorns, they cannot stop the young man's awakening. Hearing that her father and several grandfathers agreed, Ning Rangrang also let go of her entanglements. Her brother Jian has always been higher than the sky, and becoming a god has always been his dream. As Tianlin's future wife, she must do yes. It is silent support behind the scenes. If Tianlin doesn't come back, no big deal. She can just go underground with him. Xiaoshan, please stay with Rangrang tonight. I'll give you 2 years. After 2 years, bring me the killing god domain, and walk out of the killing city in a fair and just way. Chen Xin stood up without looking back. After leaving, it is estimated that he will not appear again before Tianlin leaves, so as not to change his mind due to worry. He trains Tianlin harder than anyone else, but actually loves him more than anyone else. The arrogant old swordsman said that he has a dusty heart. Yes, master. Tianlin understood Chen Xin's painstaking efforts. He didn't want to say any more sensational words. Promising that he would definitely come back was the greatest filial piety. Pulling Ning Rangrang out of the hall, just as Chen Xin said, he didn't have to do anything today, just accompany Ning Rangrang. Tianlin chatted with Ning Rangrang until late at night. From their childhood acquaintance to their future prospects, the two of them had a tacit understanding and did not talk about the slaughter city. It was not until late at night that Ning Rangrang fell asleep and Tianlin's arms go point. It was only then that Tianmeng Binkan finally couldn't help but said, "Xiaoshan, are you really going to that killing city to find some god? It is quite good, and I have been holding it back until now in order not to disturb the world of Tianlin and Ning Rangrang." "Yes, brother Tianmeng, have you forgotten? I once promised you that I will definitely take you to become a god together. As far as I know, there are 3 places where the gods are inherited on the Douluo Continent. They are the Martial Soul Hall where the Angel God inherits, the Poseidon Island where the Poseidon God inherits, and the Killing Capital where the Shura God and the Rakshasa God inherit. It is impossible for the Angel God to pass it on to me. I also lack one crucial thing now about the Poseidon God thing, and the inheritance of the Rakshasa God has long been taken away, so the only thing I can consider now is the Shura God. The assessment of the successes of the contemporary Shura God has been suspended. If the Shura God wants to inherit the divine position, he can only find another inheritance. Don't worry, among the gods just now, God Shura is definitely the strongest and highest ranking god," Tianlin said with a smile. "Don't worry." Tianmeng Bingshu roared in his heart. If it were in the past, Tianlin would go to find the inheritance place of the gods, and it would definitely support it from the bottom of its heart point, but now it knows that the Holy Spirit bead contains a divine position far beyond the level of a god king. If it gives up this and inherits some Shura god, isn't that like losing the watermelon and picking up the sesame seeds? Regardless of the promise he made at that time, Tianmeng Binkan was just about to tell the truth about the Holy Spirit bead when a voice transmission suddenly interrupted him. "Big meat bug, there is no need to stop Xiaoshan. Naturally, only the Holy Spirit bead can hold the divine status of the Holy Spirit bead. His magic sword, it doesn't matter if he inherits that Shura god, and the key to unlocking the Holy Spirit bead's divine status is that Xiaoshan's power needs to reach a certain level. The local inheritance of the divine status can quickly strengthen his strength." "Sister, the descendant of Nuwa, are you awake?" Tianmeng Bingsi said in surprise. It found that it still underestimated the level of this descendant of Nuwa. This is Tianlin's spiritual sea, and Tianlin is still awake, and in the best condition at this time. Even so, this descendant of Nuwa can directly transmit soul sounds in his spiritual space without being discovered by him. It's really amazing. I have been awake. Thank you for supervising Xiaoshan's cultivation during this period. I'm very satisfied with his improvement in strength. When Xiaoshan completes the inheritance of the Holy Spirit bead, you will definitely be assigned a companion beast that is no less than a first level god." But Nuwa's descendants chuckled. "Really? Thank you, eldest sister." Tianmeng Iceworm was overjoyed. Originally, it was only satisfied with becoming a third level god level beast, but now it can actually become an existence equivalent to a first level god. So what else is there to be dissatisfied about? Woolen cloth, brother. "Tianmeng, what's wrong with you?" Tianlin asked strangely. Brother Tianmeng looked worried at first, but then became happy for no reason. He didn't know what was going on. "Haha, it's nothing, it's all trivial. My dear, if you go to that killing city, I will support you from the bottom of my heart. Don't worry, with me here, I guarantee that you will prosper there." Tianmeng Bingsikam, he promised solemnly. Tianlin shook his head speechlessly. Today, Tianmeng Iceworm is indeed an old monster that has lived for hundreds of thousands of years. He laughs and laughs at the same time. His character is too elusive. Chapter 231 Farewell to the Seven Treasures. Glazed Sect for a temporary farewell. Entrance to the key. The next morning, Tianlin woke up slowly. Ning Rangrang was still sleeping quietly in his arms. Tianlin put her down and kissed her gently on the forehead. "Don't worry, Rangrang, nothing will happen. I will definitely become stronger and come back to protect you." After walking out of the room, Tianlin did not disturb anyone. Until now, except for Ning Rangrang, Mahanjangiran and others did not know that he was going to the killing city. With Guran's temperament, if he knew about it, he would probably have to help Tianlin. However, given his qualifications, he might not be able to survive in that place. Tianlin was not willing to let this guy who was called his younger brother, but actually his brother, die in that place. As for his parents and Kyan Rinksu, he didn't notify them. The Qibao glazed sect would send someone to tell them, but he said that he was just going out for training. He didn't tell his parents because he was afraid that they would worry, and Kyan Rinksu would definitely not allow it. When he goes to a place like that and becomes desperate, a titled Douluo might be sent to kidnap him back, so he can only kill him first and then show off. Ah, you leaving now and not saying hello to anyone else? As soon as he walked out of the door, an old man in green clothes was waiting for him. Old monster, didn't you all come to see me off? I don't like the parting scene. Tianlin said helplessly. HMPH, I don't have time to give you something. I just forgot to give you something yesterday. Then, Qibao flicked his arm and threw a green orb towards Tianlin. Is this your Dansu? Tianlin asked in surprise. This is Qibao's most precious treasure. He cultivated the jade-scaled snake into the jade-scaled snake queen. It can be said that half of his strength lies in this pearl. On the beads. That's right. Although I have never been to that killing city, I have heard that before entering the city, you must first drink something called Bloody Mary. I was curious and got a drink in a hotel outside the city. As a result, it was discovered that it contains a chronic poison. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with me, but since you are going there, I have to pay attention to it. I know that you have been invulnerable to all poisons because you have taken fairy herbs, but the human body's resistance to poisons has an upper limit. Once the poison in the killing city exceeds your upper limit, even you will inevitably be infected. With this, Danzu protects us, so we can feel more at ease. Qibao explained. I'm afraid it's more than that. You gave me this because you wanted me to use it when I'm in danger, right? It contains half of your life's poison. Once detonated, the power of the instant burst will definitely be no less than your snow-colored swan kiss. The 9th soul skill under the amplification, but the price is half of your strength. Tianlin frowned and said, so old monster, I don't want this bead. It's your own treasure. Keep it yourself. After being exposed by Tianlin, Qibao blushed and said, humph, I don't care. If you want the things I gave you, you'd better be smart and take them with you. Otherwise I'll force them into your mouth. Tianlin was touched by Qibao's determination and murmured, old monster, why do you have to do this for me? You saved my life. I have already made up my mind to be your protector. If you die on the way to becoming stronger, then where will my face go? Qibao didn't give Tianlin the first chance. The second chance to refuse was turned around and left. Remember, little monster, come back alive. Tianlin silently accepted the pill and chuckled. Thanks, old monster. Then, Jian flew away from the Qibao glazed sect, and after passing through thousands of mountains and rivers, he came to a small town on the edge of Douluo Continent. This town is not big, but as soon as he stepped here, Tianlin felt a chill that made the hair on his body stand up. When people in the town saw Tianlin coming alone, they all showed mocking expressions because Tianlin was too young. There was no difference between coming here alone at this age and seeking death. Tianlin ignored these people and went straight to a tavern. He had checked some information before coming. The first test of entering the killing city was here. At this time, about 30% of the people were sitting in the tavern. They were all drinking wine without saying a word. The whole tavern seemed quite quiet. Tianlin found a seat in the corner and sat down. Soon, a waiter came over and asked coldly, what do you want to order? No, I'm going to the killing city. Open the door. Tianlin said coldly. He didn't want to drink poisonous human blood like Bloody Mary. If you want to go to the killing city, you are not qualified just because you don't have much murderous aura in your body. Before the waiter could reply, a big man with a mace in his hand strode over. He had just finished drinking a glass of Bloody Mary. His eyes were red, and he looked irrational. You won't survive a day anyway, so why not let me deal with you here first? The wine just now was not enough, so I will make you another Bloody Mary. After saying that, the big man's 4 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, flashed, and he hit Tianlin with a stick. Unfortunately, his stick fell to the ground. As soon as he raised it above his head, a long sword penetrated his heart at an incredible speed. I may not have killed as many people as you, and my murderous intent is not strong enough, but killing you is enough. Tianlin knew very well that he must not talk about kindness here, otherwise he would be the one who died. He promised Rangrong, Master, Uncle Ning and the old monster that he would return alive. After picking up the big man's body with a sword, Tianlin looked at the waiter again. Take me to the killing city. I don't want to say it a third time. You think you can enter the killing city by killing one person? Let's have a glass of Bloody Mary first, otherwise. The waiter still didn't buy it. He had seen a lot of killings. Tianlin only killed one person, so it didn't scare him. But at this moment, Tianlin grabbed the man's shoulder and said, okay, then you can make this Bloody Mary. After saying that, Tianlin threw the waiter into the crowd of people who were drinking Bloody Mary. Seeing this, the lunatics could not restrain their murderous intent and tore him into pieces in an instant. I'm afraid the waiter never dreamed that a child like Tianlin could be so cruel and ruthless. Tianlin knew that this waiter was not a good person. He should be a peripheral force in the slaughter city. If he wanted to go to the slaughter city, he had to drink Bloody Mary first. This was a requirement that could kill people. This Bloody Mary is highly toxic and addictive like a drug. Once you have one drink, it is basically difficult to quit. At that time, the poison accumulates in the body and is affected by the hell road, and it will completely turn into a madman. Therefore, in the past 100 years, only two talented killing gods, Bibi Dong and Tang Heo, have appeared. Since the other party has no good intentions towards him, there is no need for him to continue to be polite. Chapter 232 Entering the Killing City. The waiter let out a shrill scream. It turned out that some completely crazy lunatic bit open the artery under his neck to suck blood. After a while, he was sucked into a mummy. Tianlin glanced over there. Although he felt that this was a bit cruel, he could not feel any unnecessary sympathy at this time. After all, another purpose of coming here was to overcome his long-standing inability to be cruel to the enemy. The hand problem, in Tang San's words, since the waiter had the intention of harming him, there was a way to kill him. Being kind to the enemy was cruel to oneself. To be honest, Tianlin is really not as good as Tang San in this regard, and Tianlin actually agrees with this item in Tang San's Zuanshan Baolu, but the degree of approval is different. In Tang San's eyes, a little quarrel with a little person was a recipe for death, but on Tianlin's side, both the big man and the waiter had the intention of killing him. This kind of only to this extent can it be regarded as the real way to die. Walking to the counter, Tianlin stared at the ground in front of him. Having read the original work, he naturally knew that this was the real entrance to the killing city. The right foot struck the ground hard, and the huge impact instantly overturned the wooden board, revealing a passage. Tianlin jumped down without hesitation. After only falling a few meters, he was already on the ground. Although it was very dark here, Tianlin could still see clearly with the help of his flame golden eyes. This is a long corridor, and a cold breath is blowing from the opposite side. After traveling for a while, a cold voice suddenly came from all directions. Welcome to the city of killing. This is the capital of hell, a world full of killing. Here, you can get everything you want, and the price is US life. Before entering the city, I encountered an illusion set at the city gate. This illusion seemed to be able to evoke the most hated things in people's hearts. What happens when a person sees the thing he hates most? Of course it is destruction, with murderous intent boiling over. However, Tianlin smiled slightly and walked forward naturally. This was not because he saw through the illusion with his external soul bone, but because nothing appeared in front of him. Oh, this man actually has no hatred in his heart. In the slaughter city, a rugged man was monitoring everything at the city gate through the crystal ball in front of him. This man was the city lord of the slaughter city, the king of slaughter. When I have nothing to do, I like to observe everything inside and outside the city. He just sensed someone new coming in, so he made a special observation. He didn't expect to see such a strange Tianlin. It was the first time he met someone who had no hatred in his heart and came to this killing city. This is too incompatible with the killing city. Just when Tianlin was about to arrive at the city gate, a black armored knight suddenly stood in front of him and said in a low voice, "You didn't drink Bloody Mary, and you didn't get the approval of people outside the city. You broke the rules and entered the killing field. The rules of the capital. So what, you want to stop me?" Tianlin asked lightly. "It's not to stop you, but to kill you, or you defeat me before you can enter the killing city. The black armored knight held a spear in his hand and exuded an extremely strong murderous aura. He was worthy of being the guardian knight of the killing city. From the outside world, I'm afraid that many soul saints Sword Douluo who have killed countless people may not have such murderous intent. Tianlin summoned the magic sword, but at this time he could not summon the soul ring. As expected, soul skills could not be used here at all. Ocean, this whole city seems to be surrounded by a very strange field. I believe what you said now. This must be the inheritance left by a super powerful god. Otherwise, this field cannot be so big. It has persisted for thousands of years. Qian Mengbingzi said with emotion, this is the Shura domain. One of its effects is to ban demons. The killing domain of the King of Slaughter is just a weakened version of the Shura domain, and the so-called killing god domain is a weakened version of the weakened version. But that is it is the first step in the Shura divine examination. Tianlin said, but it doesn't matter. Although the soul ring cannot be used, I still have the 7 kills sword technique and the Shushan sword technique. The black armored knight suddenly accelerated on his warhorse and headed straight for Tianlin with a strong murderous intent. It's irreversible. Tianlin held the magic sword and used the 7 kills sword technique to pass by the black armored knight. For a moment, the warhorse screamed and the opponent's offensive came to an abrupt end. The black armored knight's body suddenly cracked, and countless blood burst out. The so-called irreversibility means that in an instant, people are placed in hell, as if they were cut into pieces by 1,000 terrifying sword moves. It's not bad to use this move as a greeting to the killing city. Tianlin took back the magic sword, turned around and walked towards the killing city. Wait. At this moment, the knight stopped him again. Don't seek death. I was merciless just now. If it weren't for your amazing physique, you would be in hell now. If you don't want to die, find a place to treat your injuries. Don't stop me anymore. Tianlin said coldly, looked at him and said, I have no intention of stopping you anymore, but you have passed the test and are qualified to enter the killing city. Therefore, you have to take your number and enter the city. After entering the city, someone will naturally pick you up. The black armored knight handed a black sign to Tianlin. There was a skull engraved on the sign and a number below it, 9527. Looking at this number, the corner of Tianlin's mouth twitched. He wanted to ask if he could change it to another one. For some reason, when he saw this number, he felt that it made no sense, and it was seriously inconsistent with the solemn atmosphere of the killing city. In the original work, Tangson was ranked 9528, and he missed it perfectly. Why did he come so early? But he was only one rank higher than him. But at this time, the black armored knight had already got on his horse and left. Although he was not afraid of death, he didn't want to die either. He was probably looking for a place to heal his injuries. Forget it, just take it as Lord Crossing's blessing. Tianlin shook his head helplessly, put away the sign, and walked towards the city gate again. On the pitch black tower, hung high the 4-character City of Killing. In front of the door, 2 rows of black armored warriors like the knight just stood there quietly. As soon as Tianlin showed his identity card, the door slowly opened. Opened slowly. A woman wearing a black veil and a graceful figure walked out of the city and said in a clear and sweet voice, "Welcome to the City of Killing. You are the guide," that the knight said. "Please lead the way." Tianlin naturally followed the woman into the killing city. This is a dark world. There are many lanterns hanging on both sides of the street. There are many houses and many people in the city. Apart from being relatively dark, it actually doesn't seem to be much different from the outside world. Chapter 233 Rules of the Killing City. Hello, sir, or young man, I'm your guide. If you have anything you don't understand, you can ask me. Within 12 hours, I will protect your safety and answer everything for you. Question. 12 hours later, this is where you will live. You will also officially become a member of the killing city. The woman in black gauze said, I once heard that the rules here are that there are no rules. Is that true? Tianlin asked. The woman nodded. Of course it is true. As a member of the killing city, you can do anything here. Even if a title Douluo from the outside world comes here, he will become weaker due to the disappearance of his soul skills. And we are here under the rule of the King of Slaughter. There is no need to fear them at all. In the city of slaughter, as long as you have enough ability, you can do whatever you want. But I must remind you, just because there are no rules here, there is always the possibility of facing fatal danger. In a sense, this is a paradise for sin. Tianlin shook his head and said, I mean, if I can't use soul skills, does it count as a rule? If I use it, does it count as a violation of the rules? Hearing Tianlin's words, the woman in black gauze was stunned. You can't use it. Here, only those allowed by the King of Slaughter and the God of Killing who have passed through the Hell Road can use soul skills. For example, our law enforcement team is made up of consists of several Sword Douluo who are authorized by the King of Slaughter to use soul skills and the title Douluo, but you don't have to worry. Their only mission is to prevent people in the killing city from leaving the city privately. You can only enter but not leave. They won't care about the rest. If you can use your soul skills on your own, that's okay. I said, there are no rules here, but using soul skills is simply impossible. Even titled Douluo can't do it. Okay, take me to the killing fields of hell. Tianlin didn't want to argue and said straightforwardly. He didn't come here just for fun. Killing out as soon as possible is the most important goal. Is there anything else to ask? It seems that you have already done research on the killing city before coming here. The woman in black gauze saw that Tianlin was not the fallen one in the past, or because he was hunted down by Wuhan Palace, and the criminals had to flee to the killing city. No wonder, before she came to receive him, the King of Slaughter asked her to pay more attention to this person, because this person had no hatred in his heart, and was extremely clear-headed. Such people would come here for only one purpose. To gain experience, and then obtain the killing god realm and break out of the killing city. The place where Tianlin is at this time is the outer city of the killing city. Random killing is not allowed here, because the people here are losers who dare not go to the killing fields of hell. They voluntarily contribute to cups of Bloody Mary every month. In exchange for the protection of the King of Slaughter. This is just in exchange for the qualification to stay in the outer city. In order to ensure food, drink, housing and transportation here, they also need to contribute more Bloody Marys, which has also resulted in many people here being skinny and haggard. Although these people are alive, they are actually no different from dead. They are just lingering. Soon, Tianlin followed the black gauze girl into the inner city. In fact, from here on, it is the real killing city. As soon as he entered the inner city, Tianlin immediately felt a completely different atmosphere from the outer city. If the outer city is a dead and indifferent world, then the inner city is a world of luxury and madness, with all kinds of colorful lights everywhere. There are much more people in the inner city than in the outer city, which is completely different from the tranquility of the outer city. The inner city was extremely chaotic. There were excited laughs, painful cries, and lots of creepy sounds everywhere. Looking around, in a corner on the left, an extremely tall and strong man was holding a woman with a good figure in his arms, but then, a man behind the strong man seemed to be unable to bear it any longer. He cut off the strong man's head, kicked the body away, and snatched the woman away. As expected, it is a place with no rules at all, and you can see killings anytime and anywhere. However, none of them dared to take action against Tianlin at this time, because this girl in black gauze was the messenger of the King of Slaughter. As long as she was by Tianlin's side, it was equivalent to the 12 hours that Tianlin was still in the protection period of the newcomer. It's better to say it's a city of beasts than a paradise of sin. Tianlin thought to himself, how about it? Isn't it very interesting here? As long as you have strength, status, rights, and beauty, you can enjoy it as you like. The girl in black gauze said seductively. No interest, take me to the killing fields of hell. Haha, it's true that newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. Once there, my protection will be useless. Since you are looking for death, then whatever you want. The girl in black gauze sneered, and led Tianlin to a huge black building forward. It's about the same size as Xiandao and Soto's Great Soul Fighting Arena, but it's full of a depressing feeling. It's located in the center of the killing city, which shows how important this place is to the killing city. Take your ID card to sign up, and then wait for the game to start. No hands are allowed during the waiting period. There are 10 people in each group entering the killing field. No matter what method you use to kill, as long as you can come out alive in the end. Remember, only one person from each group can survive. There is no such thing as giving up. The girl gave a brief introduction. Tianlin nodded. He knew everything else. What he had to do next was to win one victory after another in the hell killing fields until he achieved 100 victories and then hit the hell road. However, you need to pay Bloody Mary to enter this hellish killing field. You can see many people queuing up in front with cups filled with fresh blood. At this time, a ferocious looking man came up. Without saying a word, he randomly found a person in the crowd, beat him into a meat pie with one punch, and grabbed the Bloody Mary. It was obvious that the Bloody Mary with the entrance fee, it doesn't have to be yours, even if it's stolen. Tianlin smiled and walked forward. At this time, the black gauze girl reminded, if you take the initiative to provoke, the novice protection period will have no effect. It doesn't matter, I don't need this kind of thing. Tianlin walked up to the big man, and his fingers began to focus on the sword point in the city of killing. There is no need for words. Just kill and rob people of whatever you like. In this hellish place, if Tianlin doesn't learn to adapt, he will never survive. The big man also knew that he was being targeted by Tianlin. He smiled ferociously, summoned the martial spirit blood tiger, and bit Tianlin in one bite. Tianlin stabbed the big man in the mouth without fear. There was still half a meter between the two sides and they didn't touch each other, but he saw that the big man's head had been pierced by Tianlin. Condensing energy into swords, these wastes who only know how to kill with brute force and have no skills can't be found at all. Chapter 234 Hell Killing Fields. The first killing battle. With the stolen Bloody Mary, Tianlin successfully entered the killing field of Hell. As soon as he entered, he could smell the strong smell of blood, and the two god-level martial spirits in Tianlin's body trembled at the same time. The Holy Spirit Pearl is disgusting. It is a treasure with the power of supreme good. It is full of disgust for this kind of place, while the demonic sword is just the opposite, and appears to be very excited. In fact, the magic sword is not a righteous magic weapon, but Mirang Xiang and Jingshan both used it on the righteous path. In fact, the demon sword can transform people's resentment into its own spiritual power. Hatred, fighting spirit, resentment, etc. can all become nutrients for the demon sword. Therefore, this ghost place is like a fish in water for the demon sword. I want to sign up. Tianlin walked to the counter and threw his ID badge over the waiter. Was a woman with a numb expression. There was no emotion on her face. She took the sign like a puppet and said, okay, number 9527. 9 people have already registered in front of me. You are the 10th. He can play in the next game. Tianlin nodded, walked to the auditorium and waited quietly. On the killing field, there were only 3 people left, plus 4 corpses. The killing field was surrounded by magma. It seemed that 3 of the 10 people had no bones left. In the end, the victor was a cold man whose martial soul was a meteor hammer. Even though his opponent begged him for mercy, he still knocked his opponent down toward the magma without hesitation. With a shrill scream, another life passed away. There is only life and death in the killing fields of hell. There is no victory or defeat. Let us congratulate number 6778 for achieving 12 victories in the hell killing fields. It turned out that this person was a 12-win master, and the whole audience cheered for number 6, 7, 7, and 8. As the woman in black veil said, the strong can have everything here, including the worship of the weak. At this moment, 10 more numbers were reported in the hall, and 9527 was among them. You're lucky, you can play right after you arrive. Tianlin chuckled and jumped directly from the auditorium to the killing field. He was the last one to take the stage, but he attracted everyone's attention, not because he looked powerful, on the contrary, because the murderous aura in him was so weak. I don't know how many people this boy has killed, but he must have been a person who didn't like killing before. The same thought flashed through everyone's mind. Killing more people does not mean that the murderous intent must be serious. After all, in addition to the lunatics who enjoy killing people, there are also degenerates in the outside world who are hunted by the spirit hall or other forces, and have no way out. They are just trying to survive. No matter how many people they kill, they still cannot become true killers. But it is obvious that Tianlin is not even the latter. His aura is sunny, and he is a person who lives under the blue sky. Why would such a person come here? If you don't want to fight, then I won't be polite. Shadow sword. In an instant, Tianlin summoned the magic sword, and a shadow sword flew out and cut off one of the people's heads. That man was just a soul sect of more than 40 levels. Not to mention that the soul ring couldn't be used. Even if it could, he was as weak as an ant in front of Tianlin. Tianlin wanted to kill him, like he was trying to get something out of a back point. Moreover, he had long discovered that in this killing city, the only soul skills born from soul rings could not be used, but soul bones, self-created soul skills, innate soul skills, and fields were not affected at all. It just so happened that Tianlin had all these things, and today this killing field was his amusement park. This man's martial soul has innate soul skills. Kill him first. A big man roared. The people in the killing city are most afraid of meeting people with innate fields or innate soul skills. When the soul rings are not available, once a fight starts, the opponent has something that he does not have, and fairness is suddenly lost. The remaining 8 people all came to attack Tianlin. Kill all living beings. Tianlin was not afraid of their encirclement and killing. There were also sword moves to deal with this situation in the 7 kills sword technique. Tianlin first used his magic sword to fend off the attacks of 3 weapon soul masters, and then stabbed a soul king whose martial soul was a thorn armored turtle. Everyone looked sarcastic, and instead of killing the weapon soul masters with weak defenses, they attacked the defense type beast martial soul masters. They were indeed fools with no combat experience. You must know that they cannot use the soul skills of the soul ring, but the physical attributes provided by the soul ring and martial soul are real. Just possessed by the martial soul, the defense of the thorn armored turtle is still extremely excellent. And once Tianlin fails to succeed in one blow, it is easy for the enemy to seize the floor and counterattack in one fell swoop. Tianlin smiled coldly. He may not have as much killing experience as the people here, but he has a lot of combat experience. Would he make such a mistake? Defense has no effect at all on Tianlin. The magic sword pierced the shell of the thorn-shelled turtle without any hindrance. Even if it couldn't use soul skills, its characteristics remained unchanged at all. It dealt real damage and ignored defense. Pierced through another person again. Tianlin's power remained unabated. He turned the magic sword sideways, changing from stabbing to sweeping, cutting the spiked turtle soul master in half, and at the same time, separated the upper and lower body of the person who was about to sneak attack from the side. Then the sword moved at will, and the magic sword rotated with Tianlin's body, slitting the throats of 4 people at the same time. After only a brief moment of confrontation, 6 of the 8 people who besieged were killed, leaving the entire audience stunned. Although this man's murderous intent is not strong, his killing efficiency is a bit too high. 7. Killing sword techniques. The king of killing muttered to himself as he watched the game in the dark. Although he was not Tang Chen, but a puppet parasitized by the bloody 9-headed Bat King, he was sure to retain some of Tang Chen's memories. Chen Jianjun was one of the strongest among the 3 extreme Douluo back then. How could Tang Chen not recognize his unique skill? It turns out that this young man is the descendant of Lord Chen Jian. The King of Slaughter thought he had finally figured out Tianlin's identity. But his guess was correct. If he saw Mr. Chen Jian, Tianlin should call him master. Is he also a successor? After passing another generation, the game is over. Number 9527 wins. Soon, Tianlin's first killing was over. Apart from him, there was no one left alive. Although the remaining 2 were soul emperors like him, they were unable to use soul skills, and were no match for him. The woman in black gauze was also a little surprised. She didn't expect that this young man with so little murderous intent could fight so beautifully for the first time in the hell killing field. Relying on a strong enough martial spirit and a good enough swordsmanship. Even if the murderous intention is not strong, you can still be invincible here. And he just arrived today. As the number of killings increases day by day, the only shortcoming will definitely be filled soon. I'm afraid a huge storm is about to sweep through the hell killing fields. After the girl in black gauze finished speaking, she walked straight out of the hell killing fields. She understood that in fact, with Tianlin's strength, there was no need for the 12-hour novice protection period. Chapter 233 has been reviewed. It may take some time to be resolved. Chapter 235 The Treasure Land of Experience, the mutual cooperation between the Holy Spirit Perlin. After the first killing battle, Tianlin randomly found an empty house to live in the inner city. People died here every day, so there were many empty houses, but when he first moved in, he was disturbed a lot. After all, he seemed too easy to bully. He was young, he didn't have much murderous aura, and he was good looking. The female fallen wanted to take him back and raise him, while the male fallen wanted to make him into the freshest Bloody Mary. It wasn't until Tianlin went on a killing spree, killing nearly 100 soul masters in one breath, that he reluctantly stopped. This was the first time that he had killed so many people in one day. To be honest, it was a bit uncomfortable, especially because the murderous intention that suddenly became stronger made him unable to control it. The air here is highly toxic and seems to react to people's murderous intent, leading people into complete madness. Only by drinking the Bloody Mary, which is also highly toxic, can the poison be temporarily used to fight the virus, but that is tantamount to drinking poison to quench thirst. The poison in the air has been cured, but the poison of Bloody Mary has accumulated in the body. When it breaks out, the death will be even more ugly than the people on the killing field today. Tianlin finally understands Qibao's worries, because his days here are calculated in years. Over time, he is afraid that his body's upper limit of drug resistance will be exceeded, and the beads Qibao gave him can the poison is completely isolated from the body surface, and all you breathe is filtered fresh air. Thank you, old monster. I will not let you down for your hard work. Tianlin sat cross-legged and began to work hard to control the sudden surge of murderous aura. At this moment, the Holy Spirit realm took the initiative to open up, helping Tianlin begin to calm down. What a magical feeling. In the realm of the Holy Spirit, although my murderous intention has not weakened at all, it is completely restrained, like an arm using a finger. Tianlin suddenly became extremely calm. What a rich power of goodness. Ocean, this city of killing is simply a treasure land for your training. I discovered today that your magic sword can absorb the fighting spirit, resentment, and hatred of the dead here, and speed up your growth. But practicing in this way for a long time can easily pollute your mind and turn you into a murderous demon without blinking an eye. Coincidentally, you also have a Holy Spirit bead. The power of perfection in it is simply the nemesis of this murderous city. It can resolve evil thoughts in your heart anytime and anywhere, allowing you to maintain your original intention. When the two work together, there will definitely be a qualitative leap in strength. Qian Mengbingzi said excitedly. Yes, not only that, since the Holy Spirit realm can be opened, then my demon suppressing realm can also be opened. Tianlin said with a smile. Subsequently, the demon suppressing domain completely covered the room where Tianlin was located. Tianlin summoned the demon sword again, and 6 soul rings, 1 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black and 1 red, appeared. Haha, it is indeed the talent field created after the demon sword became a god level martial spirit. Even the field left by God Shura has been restrained by me. Although the range is not large, at least, I can use the soul in the killing city. Skill. Tianlin smiled with satisfaction. He had another trump card. Of course, unless it was a life and death crisis, the secret of his ability to use soul skills would never be exposed easily. He planned to save this until he stormed the road to hell, otherwise he would be hostile to the entire killing city. 2 months passed quickly. At this time, Tianlin had basically fully adapted to life in the killing city, and the hell killing fields had won 14 consecutive victories. During this period, he was killing people almost every day, but it was strange. Yes, his murderous aura is still the same. It doesn't seem to have improved at all. Without improvement, it is naturally impossible. This is just like the original Tangsun who went to Yuxuan to refine his heart, after practicing in the killing city, and finally restrained the terrifying murderous aura within his body, and did not explode until the battle point with the help of the power of the Holy Spirit bead. He seems to have no need for subsequent steps. Whether it is murderous intent or character, he can already control it as he pleases. In the past few days, an uninvited guest had come to the city of killing, at least to him. It was Hulina. Tianlin thought about it, and realized that she had indeed arrived in the killing city at about this time. She had also met Tianlin, but unlike Tang San, whose appearance had been greatly changed in the original work, Tianlin didn't even wear a mask. So she was full of hostility towards Tianlin. Douluo in the original novel didn't know Tang San, who changed his appearance, so she was attracted by his appearance and strength and slowly fell in love with him. And Tianlin has always been the object of her deep hatred. No matter how excellent Tianlin's appearance and strength are, he is always a must-kill person for her. This is the so-called preconception, and Tianlin does not look like a warm man. Licking the dog, take care of her and protect her. How could she fall in love with her enemy? I'm afraid she was thinking about how to kill Tianlin in the killing city. It seems that he can no longer enjoy Tang San's treatment. That attracted the beauty's attention, but it doesn't matter. He is not a lustful ghost, and he has no interest in Douluo. If the other party wants to kill him, he will never do it. Be merciful. After all, this is the capital of killing. Douluo's strength is indeed good. Her martial spirit is that of a demon fox, and she is not good at physical attacks, so she always holds a short sword to defend herself. Bibi Dang probably also passed on a set of self-created soul skills to her, which she used with this dagger. The moves were extremely dangerous and attacked people's vital points. This also allowed her to win several consecutive victories very quickly, and she was nicknamed the Messenger of Hell. Today is Tianlin's 15th match, and his opponents today are basically all Soul Saint level experts. Even if they cannot use soul skills, their combat effectiveness will not be worse than the Soul Kings outside who can use soul skills. Tianlin is the most inconspicuous among them all. Although his murderous aura is so weak, he still receives the most attention. This is all because they are afraid of Tianlin's swordsmanship. The swordsmanship of the 7 killing sword lineage is really suitable for this killing city. In order to deal with Tianlin first, 9 people swooped in from 9 different directions. There was no panic in Tianlin's eyes. He was walking on the steps of Drunken Immortal looking at the moon, and his body flashed like an illusion, and he had already flashed towards a soul saint. He struck out with a palm from behind, shattering the opponent's heart with soul power. If he could use soul skills, the 9 soul saints would also be a great threat to Tianlin. Unfortunately, the cultivation system in the world of Douluo Continent was too extreme. Except for a few people, most people have relied on soul skills to rest on their laurels all their lives. Once their soul skills are restricted, their strength drops by more than 80%. Soul power is important, but skills cannot be lost. Zhu Changqing once said that the goal of practicing swordsmanship is to stab the opponent. The sword that hits the opponent is a real one, but before it reaches that real point, it has to go through countless imaginings. These virtual skills are actually skills. The more exquisite the skills, the shorter the time required to go through virtual skills for the soul masters in the killing city. The 7 killing sword technique can be said to be a dimensionality reducing blow. Chapter 236, famous in the city of killing. Facing several soul saints by one person, Tianlin was still able to do it with ease, and even killed 3 more people in less than a few minutes. But at this time, he didn't realize that he had fallen into the trap. In order to kill his opponent, he was unknowingly lured to the edge of the field. Beyond that, there was Magna. These 9 people actually used their lives as bait. In order to deal with Tianlin. It seemed that they had already agreed in advance that whoever Tianlin chased would be the bait, and the chosen one would consider himself unlucky. But there was one exception. When the other 7 people ran to the edge of the field, he was the only one who turned back. While Tianlin was chasing others, it seems that he has a secret strategy to deal with Tianlin. Soul chain. The man moved. His martial soul was obviously a 2-tailed monkey, but he used a chain-like soul skill. Moreover, this soul skill can not only lock Tianlin's body, but also his martial soul. It is worthy of the name of soul locking chain. At the same time, the other 4 remaining soul saints all attacked Tianlin, preparing to kill him. Even if they couldn't kill him in one blow, they still had to push Tianlin backward before he could break free, and then let the magma burn him. In order to ensure that Tianlin can be killed, they really designed it very carefully. How can he use soul skills? Could it be soul bones? Tianlin asked doubtfully. There are only 4 skills that can be used in this killing city: natural soul skills, self-created soul skills, domain, and soul bone skills. This is obviously not a realm, and it is impossible for a monkey spirit to use chain type innate soul skills or self-created soul skills, so there is no doubt that after all impossibilities are eliminated, the final result must be the truth. Very good. I made a lot of money today. Not only your lives, I also want this soul bone. My body is like a sword, and the human sword is one. At this moment, Tianlin suddenly merged with the magic sword. This was the self-created soul skill that Chenzin had taught him. The effect was like the clear sky hammer exploding a ring, which could greatly strengthen his own power in a short period of time. Attack power, kill. I saw several flashes of sword light. Not only was the soul locking chain cut off, but all the 4 soul saints who rushed up had their heads separated. This was no longer the 7 kills sword technique, but the 7 kills sword technique point. There are no moves, only the word kill. In an instant, all his murderous intent will burst out, and he will draw the sword with the fastest speed and maximum power. Every sword is a life-threatening sword point in the killing city. Under the endless killings, he finally got started with the 7 kills sword technique. Did you feel the terrifying murderous aura at that moment? Someone in the audience asked in disbelief. Nonsense. My blood almost turned to ice just now due to the substantial murderous aura. Is this still 95-27? In their eyes, Tianlin was a character whose swordsmanship was excellent, but his murderous aura was never strong. But at that moment, they felt from him that he was not inferior to those strong men who had won more than 80 battles. Some have huge murderous intent. This Jun Tianlin doesn't have murderous intent, but he has restrained all his murderous intent. How did he do it? Hulina didn't understand at all. After being here for so long, even she can't restrain her murderous intention from time to time, but Tianlin can control it so perfectly, which is really incredible. Her teacher Bibidan told her that if she could come out of the killing city alive, he would take her to a place to practice her heart and help her restrain her murderous intent. However, Jun Tianlin didn't seem to need this step at all. He simply, while making his murderous intention stronger, while letting his mind immerse himself with these 2 opposite temperaments, he can easily become a fellow practitioner. His aptitude is so astonishing. Brush. On the killing field, with a flash of sword light, the last soul master with a soul bone finally fell under the Tianlin sword point. Tianlin used his soul power to pull his right arm. The soul bone just now should be on his right arm point. Sure enough, a dark right arm bone was forcibly peeled off by Tianlin. Judging from the quality, it should be a soul bone that was just over 10,000 years old. The soul skill was the soul locking chain just now, which was a control type point. The dark aura is very strong, which is suitable for his younger brother Guran. He just lacks such a soul skill. With this technique, as long as the opponent is locked, the Death Aura and the Furious Huang Jushan Fist will be a fixed target in the future. Seeing Tianlin accept the soul bone, everyone's eyes were full of greed. It was a soul bone. It was a treasure that could use skills in this hell killing field. In many cases, it could save lives. HMPH, come and rob them if you want, but it's best to hire a corpse handler in the killing city, because I only care about killing, not burying. Tianlin said coldly. He did not lower his voice, and everyone present heard it clearly. Then they remembered that the young man in front of them was not a soft persimmon, but a ruthless man who had killed 100 people on the first day. So far, no less than 300 masters have died under his sword. Many of them were besieged, but were killed by him. If you want to snatch something from him, isn't it too long to live? Jun Tianlin, although this person is hateful, he can be used. The teacher said that the road to hell is also extremely dangerous for me. This guy can be used as a scapegoat. Because of Bibidong's relationship, Hulina knew a little bit about the road to hell information. She had an idea in her mind. She would first trick Tianlin into cooperating with her to break through the level, and then rely on the intelligence difference between the two to make Tianlin become her thug on the road to hell. Even with a good design, she could even make the sword master die directly here in order to avenge her being unable to hold her head high in Wuhan Hall twice. However, Hulina believes that now is not the time. They have not won enough games. Cooperating too early will make Tianlin suspicious. Therefore, for a period of time after that, Hulina was still the same as before, and Tianlin was a stranger. Even if they met on the road, they would not say hello. A year and a half has gradually passed. At this time, Tianlin has completed 82 consecutive victories in the Hell-Killing Fields, and Hulina has also reached 77 consecutive victories. Tianlin got a new nickname, Kendo Shura. The names of Sword Shura and Hell Messenger began to resound throughout the inner and outer cities of the Killing City Point. But there was one thing that puzzled Tianlin, and that was why Tang San hadn't come yet. Later he figured it out. The reason why Tang Heo let Tang San come here was because Tang San had completed the training of the Chaos Cloak Hammer technique, and his level was high enough. The blue silver grass had also awakened into the blue silver emperor, but now there is no 8 spider soul bone, no wisdom skull, and the level is not enough. The time required for him to complete the physical training will naturally be much longer than in the original work. Moreover, the Blue Silver King was also cut off in advance by Tianlin. Now he might not even be able to find a way to awaken the blue silver grass for the second time. How could he still have time to come to this killing city? Even if he comes, it will have to be postponed for at least 2 years. In short, Tianlin probably won't be able to see him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237, Sword Shura and Hell Messenger. Time flies. At this time, Tianlin's victory has reached 95, and he is very close to 100 victories now. An urban legend has arisen in the Killing City. Here, the most dangerous person is the person with the least murderous intention, because you have no idea when he is going to kill you, or even when that person walks behind you. You can't feel him either. In a dark room in the inner city of the Killing City, the woman in black gauze who first introduced Tianlin was kneeling on the ground, reporting something to the people in front of her. Today, Kendo Shura won again. No. An extremely tall figure sat on the chair in front of him. Although his appearance could not be clearly seen, the boundless domineering power on his body was enough to make people tremble with fear. The Great King of Killing, Shura's sword skills are really terrifying, and he is still killing, constantly honing his killing swordsmanship. In the past year and a half, although his level has not improved much, but his understanding of the way of the sword is at least 5 times stronger than before, and his sword seems to be able to ignore the opponent's soul defense and attack. When he cannot use soul skills, Contrat is no match for him, and he has even been banned. Douluo might even. The woman in black gauze looked very worried. This was all because of the legend in the City of Killing, the arrival of the god of death and the disaster of Hellpoint. In fact, it means that a killing god will appear one day, and it is his appearance that will lead to the destruction of the Killing City. Originally, this person refers to Tang San, but now, there is still a question whether he will come. Even if he comes, there is also no snow-colored swan kiss. This legend is actually nothing to worry about. That Hell Messenger has almost 80 victories now, right? The King of Slaughter suddenly asked. The woman in black veil paused and replied, yes, 84 consecutive wins, second only to Shura and Kendo. King, are you going to arrange for them to fight? Of course not. According to the rules of the Hell-Killing Fields, fallen ones who have played more than 50 games will not meet in the same game. Even I cannot violate it. The King of Killing said. However, we can slightly design the order of their games. Let the 2 of them try to complete 100 victories at the same time. King, are you planning to let them go to hell together? The woman in black gauze reacted immediately. The King of Slaughter took a sip of the Bloody Mary in his hand and said in a deep voice, yes, that swordsman Shura is special. He has no hatred in his heart and has never drank a Bloody Mary. There is no way to design him, but the Hell Messenger is different. Come on. After such a long time, her body has already begun to accumulate toxins, and as long as she enters the road to hell, she will become a madman. The hatred in her heart is extremely deep, and what's more coincidental is that the object of her hatred is Sword Shura. When the time comes, the 2 of them will kill each other, and no one can pass the road to hell. My king is wise, unlike Tang San's Hulina in the original work. Hulina in the original work not only did not hate Tang San's pseudonym Tang Yin, but she also admired him. The Slaughter King saw this, and did not want the 2 of them to go through the barrier together, but it's different now. If Hulina and Tianlin cooperate, helping each other is just a joke. They will only hold each other back, and even try their best to push the other person to hell on the road to hell. This time his judgment was correct. Tianlin and Hulina could only be enemies, not friends. In the following days, the competition schedule was just as planned by the King of Slaughter. Sometimes Tianlin would sign up, but it would be delayed because he could not get 10 people together. On the other hand, Hulina's matches went surprisingly smoothly. Slowly, her winning streak began to catch up with Tianlin's. In the end, the two of them reached 99 consecutive wins at the same time. The King of Slaughter is plotting against me and Hulina. After returning to the room, Tianlin quickly realized something. Although his IQ was not too high, he had been following Ning Fengxi for so long, so he knew a little bit about conspiracy. Of course Tianlin knew how much the King of Slaughter did not want another god of killing to appear in the City of Slaughter, so this design was understandable. Tianlin, can I ask for a moment? At this moment, someone knocked on his door. It was Hulina. This was the first time she came to see him since she entered the killing city. Come in. Tianlin wanted to hear what she wanted to say. Hulina, dressed in black, walked in slowly with a coquettish step and a glass of Bloody Mary in her hand. What's the matter? Tianlin asked. Tianlin, we have the same victory, and we will soon achieve 100 victories at the same time. What do you think about joining forces to conquer the road to hell? Hulina stated her purpose straightforwardly. My teacher is the one who has passed through the road to hell, one of the gods of death. She told me clearly how dangerous the road to hell is, and we cannot easily get through it alone. Only by joining forces can we have a chance of survival. How can I trust you? I can clearly sense your murderous intention towards me. Tianlin asked with a sneer. Yes, I really want to kill you. The right leg bone of the amethyst civet cat and the trunk bone of the crystal body. These two soul bones were originally carefully prepared by the teacher for me. They were just waiting for me to make great contributions to the Wuhan Palace. The rewards were given to me, but now they have been taken away by you. You made me unable to hold my head up twice in the Wuhan Palace. One day, I will crush you to ashes to erase the past humiliation. Hulina did not deny it. But now, rather than killing you, I want to get out of the killing city alive. So, how about we leave our hatred until we get out and settle the matter? To show my sincerity, I can tell you a secret. The teacher told me that those who pass through the hell road will be recognized in a special field called the Killing God Field. As a disciple of Sword Douluo, you should know how rare and powerful domain soul skills are. Except for the talent domain that only 1/10,000th of a super powerful martial spirit can bring, ordinary soul masters can only obtain domains in only when you obtain the martial spirit avatar at level 70 or obtain the 9th soul skill at level 90. Will there be less than a 10th chance of it happening? Lena is very smart. She does not deny her murderous intention towards Tianlin, but at the same time she shows that she pays more attention to her determination to escape from the killing city alive. Coupled with the temptation of her talent field, it is difficult for people not to believe her. Tianlin simply followed her and said, it's actually a domain soul skill. Okay, I believe you for once today. If you want to seek revenge from me, I'll be waiting for you at any time. But the most important thing now is to leave the killing city. Happy cooperation. Hulina drank the Bloody Mary with a smile and left with satisfaction. Tianlin watched her leave and smiled disdainfully. What she said was both true and false. This kind of lie was indeed the most believable. It was true that she wanted to live, and it was also true that she wanted to be in the realm of the god of death. But there was only one thing that Tianlin was sure of, and that was that she had never thought of letting herself go through the road to hell. We'll see Hulina, who will design who when we see it. Chapter 238. Victory in the killing fields and the road to hell opens. Sword Shura wins. Today, Tianlin finally completed 100 victories in the hell killing fields. Even he had a very difficult time in this last game, because all 9 of his opponents were contrasts. Rather than expecting Hulina and Tianlin to kill each other on the hell road, the King of Slaughter still hopes that they are not even qualified to challenge the hell road. However, it is a pity that after nearly 2 years of experience, Tianlin's killing swordsmanship is now it has reached a whole new level point. He can't use soul skills, has no soul bones, no domain, and no self-created soul skills. Even if there are 9 such Sword Douluo, they are no match for him. The King of Slaughter's face looked ugly. He was basically certain that, if the swordsman Shuro was allowed to go to hell alone, the possibility of him passing the test would be 100%. Someone has to restrain him. For this purpose, Hulina had to go to the Hell Road together, so her opponents there were much weaker. In the last game, she actually only met 1 Soul Saint, 3 Soul Emperors and 5 Soul Kings with the help of the Skull of Wisdom condensed by the spirit in the foxtail of the external soul bone, that she didn't know where it came from. She easily completed 100 consecutive victories. Tianlin had never watched her play before, but since he wanted to become a partner who helps each other, he naturally had to know something about each other. After today's game, Tianlin finally understood why Hulina was so powerful. The reason was all in the Skull of Wisdom that condensed the spirit. The original skull was absorbed by Tang San and merged with his purple demon pupil to form the purple soul skill. Extreme Divine Light, Spiritual Attack Soul Skill. However, after being absorbed by Hulina, the soul skill formed is the Light of Charm, which also directly affects the soul. Once Hulina encounters a strong enemy, she will use this technique to turn some of the opponents into her puppets, and then let them kill each other. The emergence of 2 killing gods in one day is a miracle that has not happened in the killing city for hundreds of years. The atmosphere of the Hell Killing Field also reached its peak at this moment. Everyone roared crazily, "God of Death! God of Death! God of Death! Congratulations!" At this time, a voice came from above the Hell Killing Field. It was not very loud, but it overwhelmed everyone. "Is this the King of Slaughter, or should I say, Tang Chen?" Tianlin asked secretly. "Xiaoshan, be careful. This person's strength is far superior to your master. I'm afraid he won't be inferior to Dishan." Qian Mengbinken reminded anxiously through a voice message. It can completely feel the bottomless strength of the person in front of him. "Don't worry, brother Qian Meng. Although I can't beat him, I have other ways to deal with him, but now is not the time." Tianlin didn't panic at all. After all, this is not the real Tang Chen. It is just a puppet possessed by the blood-red 9-headed Bat King. How much of Tang Chen's strength can he exert? The King of Slaughter's eyes fell on the viewing platform of the Hell Killing Fields. "I am very happy to witness the birth of 2 strong men in the killing field today. The yum that has not appeared for many years has been demonstrated in 2 young people. With their strong strength and terrifying murderous intent, they will make you trembling, aren't you, my people?" Yes. The King of Slaughter seems to have a unique magic power that makes all the fallen have an almost crazy worship. After seeing him, the King of Slaughter lowered his head and looked at Tianlin and Hulina. "Sword Shura, messenger of hell, thank you for making me feel the existence of passion again. In order to commend your achievements, I have decided to grant you the title of God of Killing. From now on, you can all enter and exit the killing city on your own, and you will be hired as guests of the killing city under you." 4. The King of Slaughter. It is indeed safest not to let anyone enter the road to hell, so as to eliminate the possibility of the God of Death appearing from the source point. But how could Tianlin agree? The realm of the God of Killing is the foundation of the Shura God exam. He immediately vetoed. "No, the great King of Slaughter cannot break the rules of the Slaughter City because of us. I'm willing to pass the test of the Hell Road and then receive your reward. I hope to rely on my own strength to walk from here, go out, and become a real God of Death." Me too. Hulina didn't know so much. She just wanted to get the realm of the God of Death and kill Tianlin on the road to hell. Both of these 2 people are tough-minded people. The King of Slaughter knew that no matter how much he tried to persuade him, it would be useless. He said with an ugly face, "In that case, then let's walk the road to hell together, so that you won't look like someone on the road to hell alone." Open the gates of hell. Waves of evil and cold red ripples slowly spread out from the King of Slaughter, spreading to the entire place in almost a few blinks of an eye. The degenerates sitting in the audience were all surprisingly excited. They all wanted to see the road to hell open. However, what they don't know is that their lives have come to an end. Except for the God of Death and the King of Slaughter, no one has ever seen the road to hell open, because everyone who saw it died. In other words, they all became sacrifices to open the road to hell. The fallen who were cheering wildly gradually became quiet as the red light landed on the viewing platform. Each fallen's eyes gradually became dull, and then turned from dull to bloodshot red. Not long after, when the red light formed a huge barrier in the entire hell-killing field, painful screams began to sound from the people who were first exposed to the red light. Affected by the red light, those degenerates seemed to have gone crazy, desperately grabbing their faces and bodies. It is their honor to be the sacrifice that opens the hell road. The deep voice of the Slaughter King sounded. At this time, the screams had gradually stopped, except for Tianlin, Hulina and the King of Slaughter. There seems to be no one alive here anymore. The blood flowed into the field and did not spread in a straight line. Grooves appeared on the ground at some point, and the blood flow was poured into them. Gradually, it converged into a huge blood red pattern on the ground. A burst of dazzling red light burst out from the pattern, and then the feet of Tianlin and Hulina were in the air. An extremely powerful suction force came from below the hell-killing field, like a bloody mouth, swallowing Tianlin and Hulina in one gulp. I wish you good luck on the road to hell. The deep and sharp voice of the King of Slaughter echoed in their ears, seeming to be mocking. I don't know how long it took, but with a violent shock, the two bodies regained their freedom. When they woke up, they were on a circular platform with a diameter of only 5 or 6 meters. It seems that this is the starting point of the road to hell. Chapter 239 Dark Gold Three-Headed Bat King. Arriving at Hell Road, Hulina's eyes suddenly flashed with blood, and the Bloody Mary poison in her body began to react with Hell Road. Tianlin didn't help Hulina detoxify like Tang San did, and even if he gave him the antidote at that time, Hulina might not have taken it given her disgust and wariness towards Tianlin. However, as the blue light flashed on her forehead, she quickly regained her composure. As expected of the protagonist of the original work, the skull has a great impact on the spirit, and it actually forcibly maintained Hulina's sanity. Bibi Dong actually has a soul bone in her hand that is not inferior to the wisdom skull, but the reason why she gave Hulina the priority to choose this piece is because of the word wisdom. The smarter the person, the more capable he is in emergencies. Stay sane. Is this the road to hell? Hulina looked at the narrow road in front of her that was only half a foot wide. It's really appropriate. If you miss the mark, you will fall into hell and never recover. In fact, before coming to the Slaughter City, Bibi Dong told Hulina about the scene on Hell Road. However, after so many years, this place cannot remain unchanged, so the information in her hand can only be used as a reference point. But in Hulina's heart, even if there is not much information, it is still much better than Tianlin who knows nothing. She can make a good plan here to make this sword master or swordsman Shura die on this hell road. At this time, don't unleash your murderous intent on me, otherwise I'm afraid I won't be able to resist and chop you with a sword. Tianlin walked ahead without looking back. Hulina smiled slightly and followed Tianlin. Sorry, I have lived in this killing city for too long, and sometimes I can't control myself. They did not tie each other with clothes or ropes. The reason was simple. Neither of them trusted each other. Lina, have you noticed? As we move forward, the surrounding temperature is getting higher and higher. Tianlin asked after traveling a certain distance. Yes, the magma below should be getting closer and closer to us. It was 1000 meters at first, but now it is estimated to be only 900 meters. If this continues, I'm afraid that the last section of Hell Road will be completely submerged in the magma. That's the hardest part to walk through. Hulina was much stronger than the original in terms of level and mental power. She also noticed something else, raised her head and said, something is coming. There are thousands of bats. Tianlin said solemnly. Hulina could sense it. How could he not feel it? And he could sense it more clearly. As we got closer, we could finally see the flying creatures clearly. They were blood red bats, just like a smaller version of the blood red patterns left on the ground of the hell killing ground. Each blood bat is about a foot long, but its huge wings extend over 1 meter. Of course, 1 or 2 such blood bats were nothing, but thousands of them suddenly appeared, like a red blood cloud, flying quickly towards Tianlin and Hulina. At this time, Hulina's face had turned ugly. She put the dagger in her hand against her chest and asked anxiously, what should I do? What's the big deal? There are only thousands of them. Tianlin said indifferently. After Image Sword, the Demon Sword's innate soul skill, the Shadow Sword, continues to strengthen as his level increases. From the dozens at the beginning, it can reach thousands now. If paired with the 10,000 sword art, Tianlin can already 100,000 swords were sent out in an instant point, but now, the light residual Shadow Sword was enough. Countless Shadow Swords flew towards the bats. In less than a moment, the red blood cloud was swept away, leaving only the bat corpses falling into the magma. Let's go. If this counts as a level, then have we passed the first level? Tianlin said calmly, and continued to move forward. It's so powerful. If such a dense rain of swords fell on me, I would have no way to dodge, and I would definitely die. Hulina sighed secretly, and at the same time she was determined to keep Tianlin here completely, otherwise once he obtains the God of Death, once the domain is out, it will be more difficult to deal with, and sooner or later they will be the formidable enemy of their spirit hall. Squeak. At this moment, an angry bat cry suddenly came from the front point right in front of their narrow road. Under the narrow road, there was a huge guy hanging upside down. Under the surrounding red light, a dark golden light is released. The guy was about 4 meters long, and his 2 huge claws were clasped on the narrow road. Each claw has a diameter of more than 1 meter, and is sharp enough to claw into the stone point. Amidst the screams of a large number of blood bats, a pair of huge wings slowly opened on the dark golden body, and the terrifying wingspan was as wide as 10 meters. Its claws suddenly released, and with its huge wings flapping, its huge body flew up, turning out to be an extremely huge bat point. The whole body is dark golden, and the most terrifying thing is that it actually has 3 heads. Hulina murmured. It seems that the first level has not been passed yet. We are in trouble. We beat the younger one, so the older one comes to take revenge. The Dark Gold Bat King has a dark attribute. I have seen this kind of soul beast in the Soul Beast illustrated book, but this one seems to have mutated. Judging from its size, it is more than 60,000 years old, so be careful when dealing with it. Tianlin introduced. The strength of the 60,000-year-old soul beast is already above the soul saint level, especially the mutant species like the dark gold 3-headed bat king. I'm afraid that even a titled Douluo will not be able to deal with it without the ability to use soul skills. Easy point. The dark gold 3-headed bat king is cunning by nature. It did not attack the 2 of them as soon as it came up. Instead, it began to destroy the road ahead, intending to let the 2 of them destroy themselves. Jun. Tianlin, facing this kind of monster, we must join forces. You do physical attacks, and I do mental attacks. Hulina said anxiously. Okay, run and fight at the same time, and rush through the first section of the road before it completely destroys the road. Tianlin used Chushan's body technique, and rushed forward quickly. Although Hulina does not have the same physical skills as him, she has activated her externally attached soul bone foxtail. The externally attached soul bone enhances all attributes of the body. For a time, her speed also increased greatly. How could the Bat King watch them pass the first level like this? The 3 heads started screaming at the same time, as if they were about to use some powerful skills. Tianlin, who had read the original work, knew that to kill these 3 bats, unless he knocked off all 3 of their heads in one go, it would be meaningless to kill only 1 or 2. It could complete regeneration in an instant, so Tianlin did not attack rashly. We must stop its skill. Phantom Divine Light. Hulina's eyes flashed with light. Unexpectedly, her soul bone skill can not only be used to charm the enemy, but also be used for mental shock. Chapter 240. Killing each other. Tianlin and Hulina. The pink light instantly hit one of Bat King's heads. The head was not broken, but it was already brain dead. Unfortunately, for the Bat King, unless all 3 heads are knocked off at the same time, it can regenerate indefinitely. The head next to him actually bit off the brain dead head by himself, and then in less than a second, a new head sprouted from the shattered head. What? A strong self-healing ability. Hulina exclaimed. However, after this attack, she discovered one thing, that is, the Bat King only has strong physical self-recovery ability, but her attack just now was more of a soul attack. With the help of the wisdom skull, she can obviously feel that the soul strength of this blood-red Bat King has become lower. A plan was formed in her mind, and Hulina showed an evil smile. At this time, in order to interrupt the Bat King's ultimate move, Tianlin was constantly slashing out his sword energy and did not notice a smile point under Tianlin's endless attacks. Although he still couldn't kill the Bat King with strong recovery ability, he also gave it a lot of heavy damage and completely interrupted its charged attack point in the original work. Tangsun used the combination of the purple divine light, the hidden weapon, and the clear sky hammer to defeat the Bat King's 3 heads at the same time in an instant. Tianlin didn't need such troublesome steps. He wanted to use a Xingqiao mind blade to smash the entire body of the Bat King into powder. He didn't believe it, so that it could be reborn. But at this moment, another ray of light swept past Tianlin and defeated one of the Bat King's heads again. Lina, this kind of attack is useless. You must destroy its 3 heads at the same time. Tianlin reminded loudly. Lina seemed to be unable to hear and continued to do useless work. Tianlin looked down on her a little. After absorbing the wisdom soul bone, although her mental power did not reach the Sword Douluo level like Tangsan, she was not inferior to some high-level soul saints. It seemed that there were people cultivating mental power in the spirit hall. Kung Fu, subjected to such strong and continuous mental attacks by her, the 3-headed Bat Kings were unable to fight back for a while. But it doesn't care. No matter how many attacks, it won't be able to kill it. But just after one of its heads was defeated for the 4th time and reborn, Lina suddenly started to change her moves. Charm. There is no need to rely on the soul ring. Lina can now use the charm soul skill by herself. Her repeated mental attacks are to continuously weaken the power of Bat King's soul to ensure that her charm is successful every time. The eyes of Bat King's 3 heads flashed with pink light at the same time, and it was obvious that he was charmed by her. Beautifully done. Tianlin couldn't help but praise Lina for being able to come up with such a method. In this way, he could easily chop off the 3 heads of the Bat King without using the torture lock mind blade. It's funny, Lord Sword. Lina smiled coquettishly at first, then her expression suddenly turned cold. Bat King, kill him. The charmed Bat King obeyed her command like a puppet and stormed towards Tianlin. Teleport. Tianlin used the soul bone skill to avoid the attack and looked in the direction of Lina, only to see that she was already taking advantage of this moment to prepare to run through the first section of the Hell Road. And while running, she used her external soul bone to destroy the road. This was to cut off all Tianlin's roads, so that even if he could defeat the Bat King, he could only die with the Bat King. I know you bitch is not a good person. Tianlin is not worried about the road. He still has Yu Giant Fui. At worst, he can fly over later, but in this case, he will not be able to use his sword skills. Oh, I should make another sword outside. From now on, I can't use the magic sword for sword flying. Tianlin said, seemingly distressed, but there was no trace of panic on his face. Lina had a good plan, but Tianlin also had a wall ladder, demon, suppression domain. Tianlin opened his domain and suppressed part of the Killing City domain centered on himself. All 6 soul rings of the demon sword took the opportunity to emerge. Lina, who hadn't run far yet, looked back subconsciously, feeling horrified in her heart. How is it possible? Why can Tianlin use the soul ring here? The 3rd soul skill, Feng Shui turns. The next moment, Tianlin told her that he could not only use soul rings, but also perform soul skills. Under the influence of the changing wind and water, the 3-headed Bat King's charmed state was immediately lifted. Soul bone skill, mind taking. A light flashed on Tianlin's forehead. In terms of soul bones, could Tianlin lose to Lina? He wanted to thank Lina for consuming so much of the Bat King's mental power before that he could control it effortless. Now at point the Bat King stopped attacking Tianlin, turned around, and looked fiercely in Lina's direction. Seeing this, Lina knew that the situation was not good. The Bat King was counter-controlled by Tianlin. Kill. Tianlin ordered coldly, and the Bat King pounced on Lina. Although it was somewhat different from the King of Slaughter's original idea, it was still roughly as he expected. Tianlin and Lina had begun to kill each other. Lina's swordsmanship is actually pretty good, but it's against people, and it's completely useless against big monsters like the Bat King. Moreover, she had just used the soul bone technique continuously, which consumed a lot of money. Now she was completely helpless. After a while, one of the Bat King's heads bit her arm and took her into the air. If it weren't for the external soul bone and the gift given to her by Bibidang with the sharp dagger, she had already been torn into pieces by the other two heads. Jun. Tianlin, Wuhan Palace will not let you go. My teacher will definitely avenge me. Hulina seemed to know that she was going to die, and she did not ask for mercy. Although she was a woman, she was not bloody at all. Lose the man. If Bibidang wants to kill me, then sooner or later I will send her down with the fourth soul skill, flowing light immortal killing slash. Tianlin flew forward, and the huge magic sword penetrated the three-headed Bat King and Hulina at the same time in one breath. Point in the Wuhan Hall and the Pope's Hall, Bibidang suddenly felt a palpitation in his heart. Yuguan, ghost, how long has it been since the golden generation went out to experience His Majesty the Pope? It has been nearly 2 years. Ziyu and Yan have completed the experience of the Lost Grand Canyon, and their levels have reached level 60. I think I can bring them back and obtain the 6th soul ring. Yu Guan replied. Bibidang nodded. Very good. You finally didn't disappoint me anymore. I will send someone to take care of them. Gui Mei, Yu Guan, you two have other tasks. Go to the back mountain of the killing city, where it's the exit of Hell Road, waiting for Nana to come out. Yes, Your Majesty the Pope. The two of them bowed and retreated. You must come back alive, Nana, Bibidang said worriedly. In her heart, Hulina was even more important than her biological daughter Qian Ringsu. The motherly love she did not give to Qian Ringsu was all placed on Hulina. If something happened to Hulina, her madness would inevitably go up to a higher level. Chapter 241 Tianlin's methods. Puppet Hulina. In Hell Road, although Tianlin penetrated both Bat King and Hulina at the same time with one sword, due to Bat King's self-regeneration ability, only Hulina died. He doesn't need to kill the Bat King now. The million-year soul bone skill is not comparable to Hulina's spiritual wisdom skull that can only charm for a few minutes. This mind seizing can last for a long time. It just so happens that the Bat King becomes his thug on the road to hell, and with it, Tianlin doesn't need to walk on the narrow road, nor does he need to fly with a sword. It's so comfortable to fly on it. After passing the first level of Hell Road, there was a round platform for people to rest temporarily. Tianlin asked the Bat King to put him and Hulina's body down together. Looking at Hulina's body, Tianlin's expression remained unchanged. He was used to killing people in the killing city. Even though Hulina was indeed as beautiful as a flower, he did not let him have any fluctuations, not to mention that it was Hulina who wanted to kill him just now. But in fact, he never really wanted to kill Hulina here. Just as Hulina wanted to set him up, he had already thought about how to deal with Hulina. The killing blow just now was actually to further complete the plan. Ningfeng's his past teachings often echoed in his ears. Ocean. To do great things, strength alone is not enough, you also need wisdom. Every time you take a step, you must see 3 to 4 steps ahead. Remember, sometimes looking forward and backward is not a derogatory term. Take 1 step and watch 3 steps. Tianlin thought quickly in his mind. He knew that Hulina's death here would have a huge impact. Bibidang regarded her as her own daughter. Once something happened to her, Bibidang's character would definitely investigate her thoroughly. She is one of the killing gods in the killing city. She can enter and leave the killing city freely and can also use soul skills here. Therefore, it is easy to come here to find out the truth. Once she finds out that Tianlin and Hulina went to hell together, I'm afraid Tianlin won't have to think about the soul hunting operation and will immediately be on Bibidang's must-kill list. Moreover, Bibidang now has less and less clarity in her heart. The master's ruthlessness has already made her 1 step closer to inheriting the Rakshasa god. If Hulina passes away again, she will lose all her cares and hatred will make her be killed by Rakshasa, devouring the will of the gods. I'm afraid that the inheritance of the gods will be completed early, which will be a disaster for the Qibao glazed sect. Holy Spirit Bead. Tianlin took back the magic sword and summoned the Holy Spirit Bead. Although the twin spirits cannot be used at the same time, they have another advantage. That is, domain skills are not subject to this restriction. In other words, even if he takes back the magic sword, he can still use the demon suppressing domain. The white gold soul ring of the Holy Spirit Pearl appeared normally. Gather energy and return soul. Tianlin decisively chose to resurrect Ulina. Unfortunately, Ningrangrang was not here, and without the assistance of the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, the cost of resurrecting the person was the loss of a large amount of soul power. Fortunately, although Hulina was far stronger than Zhu's Yuking, she was still much weaker than Tianlin. In the end, Tianlin successfully resurrected her at the cost of only 1 level point. During the 2 years in the killing city, he had little time to cultivate his soul power. After all, it would be too dangerous to enter deep meditation in the killing city, and he would not know how he would die. But with the help of the magic sword, to absorb the resentment here, he still improved by 3 levels, reaching level 68. Under the drag of the ultimate attribute, this speed is not bad, but now he has returned to level 67. Read. The soul and capture the heart forever. Who? Lena's mental power is too strong. It is impossible to invade her spirit while she is alive. She will inevitably resist her life and death. However, right after her resurrection, it is undoubtedly the time when her spirit is the most vulnerable. Tianlin took advantage of it. Before Hulina woke up, she used soul reading to modify some of her memories. For example, her death just now was caused by the Bat King, not Tianlin. Eternal heart taking, on the other hand, left an indelible mark on her heart, just like it did to Luo Fuji, but it was more domineering and loyal to Tianlin forever. He wants to turn Hulina into his puppet and monitor every move of Wuhan Palace. Apart from that, nothing else about Hulina has changed. On the surface, she is still the same, the saint of the Wuhan Palace who cares about her brother and respects her teacher. Her personality is the same as usual, proud and charming. Using this move almost exhausted Tianlin's mental power. Under the protection of the 3-headed Bat King, Tianlin opened his holy spirit realm and sat cross-legged to meditate. After an hour, his mental power recovered to 3 or 4 levels before he stood up. However, this consumption is completely worth it. Tianlin has considered many things in the future. Once Hulina is still alive, Bibi Dong will not go crazy too fast and can stabilize her for some time to allow herself to develop. Secondly, because the prediction of the future is still cooling down, Tianlin either has to wait for the cooling down, otherwise he must find other ways to know the exact time of the soul hunting operation so that he can make arrangements in advance. With Hulina's status in the Wuhan Palace, it is easy got lots of inside information. The third time, it was for Qian Ringsu. He remembered that according to the original plot, after Hulina returned to Wuhan Hall, after experiencing the killing city, she would be canonized as the Holy Maiden of Wuhan Hall, the first in line of the Pope after Bibi Dong Heir. Although the enshrined hall has always supported Qian Ringsu, there is no way the current Pope of Wuhan Hall is Bibi Dong. Many of the ignorant people outside do not know the existence of the enshrined hall at all. They only recognize the orders of the Pope. In this way, even if Bibi Dong steps down in the future, Hulina will be her successor. If Qian Ringsu wants to take over, she can only rely on robbery. This behavior is like treason, and I'm afraid that many small forces below will be dissatisfied. Even if it is announced that Qian Ringsu is the daughter of the former Pope Qian Zhengji, it is useless, because the position of the Pope is different from the throne, and it will not be said to be a family inheritance. Otherwise Bibi Dong will not be able to become the Pope. Therefore, the best way is that after Hulina takes over the papal throne, she realizes that her talents are not enough and cannot bear such a heavy responsibility, and takes the initiative to give the throne to Qian Ringsu so that she can be completely justified. My brother Zhu, I'm so worried about you. Don't let me down in the future, Tianlin murmured. He didn't want to be the king of the continent, and he also hoped that the continent could achieve unity and peace, so he just can recommend it to Qian Ringsu. At this time, Hulina also woke up slowly. When she saw Tianlin, she knelt down on one knee and said, "See, your majesty, Hulina has offended many times in the past. Please forgive me, your majesty." The eternal mind capturing has already taken effect, and it is indeed an enhanced version of the million-year-old soul skill. Get up. Remember, from now on outside, you should show how much you hate me. Don't show any flaws. Also, I don't like people calling me Lord. My name is Jun Tianlin. Tianlin ordered. Yes, Lord. No, Master Tianlin. Hulina stood up and said with concern, Master Tianlin, you have consumed too much soul power and mental power in order to resurrect me, which is not good for us to pass the next level. And also, how long can you maintain control of this Bat King? If it suddenly rebels, it will be a huge threat. Do you want to kill it completely now? The controlled Hulina was loyal to Tianlin and worried about his safety both inside and outside her words. It's best to go, sir. Don't worry, the control should still last for about half an hour. There's no need to kill it. Let's rush out of the Hell Road now. Tianlin continued to move forward with Hulina. At this moment, they were finally able to cooperate sincerely. Chapter 242 7 Kills Swordsmanship Passing the Road to Hell. When they came to the second level, both of them were masters of mental power. Although their mental energy consumption was very high at this time, they still sensed that something was about to rush out from under the magma. Be careful. Hulina took out her dagger and stepped forward to be on guard. 10-headed Sun Snake, come out. Tianlin shouted. Bat King, pull it out and let me see who is the strongest monster on the Hell Road. You or it. The 3-headed Bat King was ordered to swoop towards the magma. At the same time, a huge red snake emerged from under the magma and bit one of the Bat King's heads. There are 9 protrusions on the snake's head and back. Each protrusion is like a bright red mushroom, and it seems like there is blood flowing inside. The snake's belly was particularly huge, bulging on the narrow road, and its length was at least more than 10 meters. The ancient alien species, the 10-headed blazing sun snake, was even more powerful than the 60,000-year-old soul beast. The Bat King was no match for it and was soon at a disadvantage. If it hadn't been for his amazing resilience, he would have been defeated long ago. Seeing that physical attacks could not kill the Bat King, the angry 10-headed sun snake sprayed scarlet poison from its mouth. Is it better than snake venom? Let me show you the most powerful snake venom in the world. Tianlin took out Douluo's inner elixir, which contained half of the power of poison Douluo. Once crushed, the terrifying poison would ruin everything here. Of course, it is impossible for Tianlin to do this. Douluo gave this to Tianlin to save his life. It is obviously not such a critical moment now. But Tianlin can still rely on his own soul power and use the poison inside to fight. Jade Scale Snake Emperor Poison. The terrifying poison spread out from the inner elixir, which clashed fiercely with the poison of the 10-headed blazing sun snake. After fighting the poison with poison, the two poisons actually began to dissipate at the same time. Tianlin smiled lightly and said, "It's just as I expected. The Jade Scale Snake King Venom and the 10-headed Fierce Sun Snake Venom have the same characteristic. That is, the group of snakes can easily change. As long as these two venoms appear, any other snake venom will lose its effect. Now they interfere with each other, and the result is that they are resolved at the same time. You are indeed Lord Tianlin." Hulina couldn't help but praise. "Let me do it next." As she spoke, she possessed a soul bone, and with all her attributes improved, she rushed towards the 10-headed sun serpent at extremely fast speeds. The target of the dagger stabbed in her hand was the tumor on the serpent's body. With her rich fighting experience, she could see that these were the source of strength of the 10-headed fierce sun snake, and they were also their weaknesses. Although Hulina was controlled by Tianlin and became a puppet, as long as Tianlin did not give her orders, everything about her would be exactly the same as before. And her self-confidence was ingrained in the bones of the golden generation. With the cooperation of her and the 3-headed Bat King, the 10-headed fierce sun snake's venom was constantly under attack, and its most powerful poison was completely ineffective because of the encounter with the green scale snake king. The 10-headed blazing sun snake finally showed its fearful emotion. Despair caused it to explode. There was no need to continue attacking. All 9 tumors on its body were broken by itself. The red liquid suddenly shot out. The liquid did not shoot directly in the air, but towards Tianlin. Shooting from directly above, 9 streams of liquid merged into one in the air, and turned into a golden red ball only the size of a fist. This is the inner elixir of the 10-headed fierce sun snake. It wants to detonate this inner elixir and die together with Tianlin and Hulina. The 7 killings of swordsmanship can be described in one word: kill. At This moment, all the restrained murderous-aura in Tianlin's body burst out, and Hulina seemed to see that Tianlin's entire body was assimilated by the murderous-aura. His body turned into a killing character and rushed straight towards the 10-headed blazing sun snake. The word kill starts from the head of the 10-headed blazing sun snake and cuts across its 10-meter long body. In Hulina's horrified eyes, the bodies of the 10 blazing sun snakes were cracked piece by piece like a piece of broken glass. She had just tried her best and failed to break any of the snake's tumors, but in front of Tianlin, the tough body was as fragile as paper. No wonder Tianlin's master is known as the #1 in attack. The real 7 kills kendo. The attack power is really terrible. A dot of golden red light fell from the sky. Tianlin made a move with his right hand. Under the tug of an invisible suction force, the golden red light fell into his palm. Astonishingly, it is the inner elixir of the 10-headed blazing sun snake from before. Although the body of the 10-headed blazing sun snake dies, it is not dead as long as the inner elixir is still there. As long as someone breaks this inner elixir, its soul can be absorbed. Tianlin remembered that this thing could be used as Mahanjan's 7th soul ring to further strengthen his phoenix flame. Be careful. I'm afraid it's poisonous, Hulina warned eagerly. When she saw Tianlin holding it with his hands, Tianlin smiled and said, "It's okay. Although it's poisonous, I've taken fairy grass and I have Douluo's poisonous elixir to protect my body. This thing will not harm me." He wrapped the inner elixir in cloth, put it into the soul guide and said, "Let's move on. The 2nd level has been passed." Bibi Dang once told Hulina that there are 3 levels in the Hell Road. As long as they pass the last level, they can go out and obtain the Killing God realm. However, they did not encounter any monsters along the way, but the burning sensation continued to increase. There was something wrong with Hulina's expression. Although the wisdom soul bone kept her sane, the effect was limited after all. She had been affected by this hell road. Gradually, her murderous aura could not be suppressed even by the wisdom soul bone. I see, this so-called final level is a test of self-control. Tianlin said clearly. To pass through this hell road, you must not only have enough strength, but also break through as quickly as possible. Otherwise your murderous aura will be affected by the evil aura here and completely go berserk. When Tianlin is not fighting, his aura is reserved, and naturally he is completely fearless, but Hulina is not the same. 5. Spirits purify evil spirits. Tianlin once again used the Holy Spirit bead to purify all the evil spirits around him. Hulina regained her consciousness and said in surprise, "Sir, you are actually a twin martial spirit. Well, this is the one who saved you just now. Remember to keep it a secret for me." Tianlin nodded. Hulina is his now, and there is no need to hide anything anymore. "Yes, I understand, but it's really amazing. It turns out that when you fought with us before, you didn't even use half of your strength." At this time, the puppet Hulina had no hatred for Tianlin, only deep respect. The last level was in vain under the 5 spirits pure evil. Soon, the 2 of them came to a white light curtain without any hindrance. They understood that this was the exit point. Tianlin asked the 3 Bat Kings to go back to their own place. The time to capture the heart was coming soon, and it would become a troublesome thing by then. But after all, it was considered escorting them all the way, and Tianlin didn't just kill it. The 2 of them looked back at the hell road. The 2-year killing journey was finally over. They would never forget those bloody days every day. Chapter 243, Inheriting the Killing God Domain and the Attention of God Shura. At the exit of Hell Road, Tianlin and Hulina did not leave directly. Taking this opportunity, Tianlin asked Hulina for a lot of information about Wuhan Palace. As Bibi Dang's personal disciple and preparatory saint, she knows a thing or two about the major decisions of Wuhan Hall, including the soul hunting operation. Tianlin's prediction was correct. The soul hunting operation was originally 5 years after the Soul Master competition, but now they asked Zuking to control the power of Shai and Dao within 3 years. There was no doubt that the operation was advanced. In addition, Bibi Dang also handed over control of some of the Wuhan branch halls and the main hall, in exchange for the enshrinement hall to personally take action. I expected the enshrinement hall to take action. After all, with the current strength of the Qibao Glazed sect, it is difficult to guarantee everything with just your bunch of elders who are less than level 95. Tianlin ordered Hulina, go back. After that, pay close attention to the soul hunting action plan, and once the execution date is determined, do everything possible to notify me. Yes, okay, then you go out first. I think because of the importance Bibidang attaches to you, I may send a title Douluo to pick you up. I don't want to run into them. Although Tianlin is protected by the magic flame flash slash, I'm not afraid of ordinary title Douluo, but I don't want to use it casually. It is one of the life-saving tools in critical moments. Okay, sir, take care of yourself. Hulina nodded, jumped into the white light curtain, and accepted the baptism of the god of death. Domain point beyond the light curtain was a forest surrounded by mountains, where Jew Douluo and Ghost Douluo had been waiting for a long time. Elder Jew, Elder Ghost. Hulina ran towards the two of them excitedly. Apart from being loyal to Tianlin, she had not changed anything else and still regarded them as her family. The two titled Douluo finally breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Hulina coming out. They had been worried about whether she could pass the test of the killing city. Yes, it seems that you have obtained the realm of the god of death. His Majesty the Pope will be very happy to see you. The ghost's hoarse voice sounded, which sounded a bit scary, but Hulina had long been used to it. Grandpa. Ghost, I just got the domain, and I still can't seem to control my murderer Sora well. Take me back to the Wuhan Palace quickly. The teacher said that he will help me wash away all my glory. Hulina urged the two of them to leave. Go. She was worried that Tianlin would come out and bump into them soon. Although she was loyal to Tianlin, she also cared about her two family members and really didn't want to see them fight. Okay, let's go. Yu Guan smiled charmingly and quickly left the woods with Hulina at the exit of Hell Road. Tianlin has not yet stepped into the light curtain, but is meditating on his luck and recovering his condition. Half an hour later, he guessed that Hulina and the others were far away, so he stood up and got into the light curtain. Everything around him seemed to be changing. The moment he entered the white light curtain, Tianlin suddenly felt as if his body had entered a special world. Surrounded by a piece of snow white nothingness. In this vast white world, I can't use any strength in my body, and the only feeling is coldness. It seemed as if countless amounts of coldness were condensing towards him, and countless amounts of coldness were being released from his body. The Holy Spirit Pearl didn't seem to like this feeling and stayed deep in Tianlin's soul, but the demon sword was extremely happy and frantically absorbed the power here. These are actually the purest murderer Sora, and now they form a field condensed by murderer Sora. Oh, two people actually passed the test of Hell Road in one day. In a huge castle somewhere, a tall but not very strong man murmured to himself. His whole body was wrapped in a dark red magic pattern robe, and he wore a dark red armor. He had a pair of blood red eyes. Next to him, there was a scabbard that made people feel cold all over. This person is none other than God Shura. Adhering to the principle of casting a wide net to catch more fish, he established a killing capital in the human world just to find a suitable successor. Every genius who passes the road to hell will receive his attention. In the past 1,000 years, not counting Tianlin and Hulina just now, only 8 people have passed the test, and among the 8, only 2 can win his favor. It's a pity that both of them were unable to inherit the throne of Rakshasa God because of that bastard. The first one was Tang Chen. He passed the 7th of the 9 Shura exams and even got the recognition of the Shura sword. Therefore, now the Shura God Hand the Supreme Master only had the scabbard, and the Shura sword was in Tang Chen's hands. But when Tang Chen faced the blood-red 9-headed Bat King in the 8th test, he was invaded by the evil thoughts left by the Rakshasa God in the killing city, and was parasitized by the Bat King. Has become the current appearance of neither human nor ghost. The other one, Bibidang, who had twin martial souls, was directly intercepted by the Rakshasa God, and became the successor of Rakshasa. God Shura really wanted to kill Rakshasa with one sword, but it was a pity that he couldn't do so, because God Rakshasa did it very cleverly, and did not violate the rules of the God realm. God Shura, God of Poseidon, etc. can fight in the battle with the permission of the rules of God realm. Luo Dalu left a legacy. Of course Rakshasa can do it, but he happened to collide with Shura. In fact, the only thing Shura left behind in the city of killing was murderous intent, and the evil thoughts on the road to hell were all left by Rakshasa. The Rakshasa God is a god full of evil thoughts. the city of killing, has his divine thoughts. There is nothing that can be done if the inheritors are disturbed. Who knows that they are not strong-willed? From this point of view, Shura really can't go to Rakshasa to settle accounts. After all, as the god of law enforcement, he can't violate the rules and punish a person who has not broken the law. Just now Hulina rushed out of the Hell Road. He took a closer look and found that, although the girl was pretty good, she was still far from inheriting his Shura position. Moreover, she had also been invaded by the evil thoughts of Rakshasa. I'm afraid she would have to go through it next. Only after a long period of hard training can he completely control his murderer. Seeing this, God Shura could only sigh in disappointment, but he didn't expect that at this moment. Another guy crossed the Hell Road. Is this child? Shenlan looked at Tianlin, and God Shura murmured, is this one of the two outsiders from more than 10 years ago? He is in charge of judgment and is responsible for maintaining order in the god realm and all subordinate planes. Foreign souls cannot escape his eyes, but he didn't care because the two souls were still very weak at that time point. Although Tangsen had replaced his original life, over the past 10 years, his soul had become integrated with this continent, so God Shura did not trouble him. As for Tianlin, he did not replace anyone, but was reincarnated. In addition to still retaining the memory of the previous life, the origin of his soul and body are equivalent to being reborn on this continent, and there is no difference between them and the natives. To describe it in one word, it is a legal time traveler. God Shura would never do anything to him, but he didn't expect that Tianlin was so destined to him that he would pass on the Hell Road and pass on his god of killing domain. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244 The Arrival of Shura God. The Shura God, who was pleased to see hunters in, did not look away. Instead, he focused more on Tianlin. As a result, he was surprised to find that Tianlin was not affected by the spiritual thoughts left by the Rakshasa god at all. The murderer Sora throughout his body is restrained, his mind is clear, and his soul is extremely peaceful. Moreover, the grade of the sword in his hand is probably higher than that of many weapons of gods in the pre-god period. Most gods were cultivated by humans, such as Poseidon. His martial spirit back then was a trident. It was not until he became a god that his martial spirit turned into the divine weapon Poseidon Trident, which was then gradually strengthened by him into a super divine weapon. God Shura felt that the sword in Tianlin's hand was far from reaching its limit. Although all the required 5 spirit attributes had been gathered into the sword body, turning the sword into a god-level martial spirit, the amount of the major attributes in it was not only uneven, not even 1/5, and still far from saturation. This sword is so powerful, it can also strengthen itself by absorbing the power of killing, resentment, and fighting spirit. It has similar abilities to my Shura sword, and his swordsmanship is not weak either. Hahaha, it's really too well. This child is simply the inheritor of my destiny. I will decide on him. God Shura was overjoyed and immediately sent out a spiritual thought and headed towards the lower world. I have to say that this Shura god is really a bit too stretched compared to the Poseidon and Angel god. They all have their own power in the lower world. For example, Poseidon has Bosaxi, the high priest of Poseidon Island, and the guardians of the 7 sacred pillars of Poseidon. Angel god also has a worship hall in Wuhan Hall. As for him, he has to go there in person to find the inheritor. There is no way, compared to the angel god Poseidon who has nothing to do all day long. He is too busy. Not only the god realm, but also the order of countless lower planes are under his responsibility. He has no time to develop any power on the mainland. After finally leaving behind the city of killings, it was invaded by the divine will of the Rakshasa god, which is simply tragic. So he wanted to live a free life, and he would definitely force this Shura god's throne out, even if it was forced. At this time, Tianlin had almost completed the inheritance of the killing god field, but he did not leave this space and return to the outside world. Like who? Lena, what's going on? I feel like I can already use the god of death domain, but why can't I go out? Tianlin was puzzled. Ocean, be careful. I feel something coming. It's scary. Qian Mengbingtian's tone changed. He didn't live up to his usual mischievous narcissism, but instead looked a little trembling. Don't be afraid, children from another world. A low but magnetic voice sounded, reverberating throughout the space point slowly. Countless murderosaurs gathered in front of Tianlin's eyes, turning into the image of Man in Black. Tianlin had heard of murderosaur turning into a physical form, but this method was unheard of. It was probably 100 times more powerful than his master's 7 kills domain. Got. Qian Mengbingtian was immediately frightened and huddled in Tianlin's spiritual sea. The person in front of him must be a god who was in charge of killing. Just looking at him, Qian Mengbingtian, who clearly had no body, could not help but wonder. I felt tingling all over my body. Big meat bug, why are you hiding? There are only 3 of our souls here. Do you think that you can avoid my spiritual detection by hiding in the depths of the sea of consciousness? The man in black sneered. You are very smart, thinking that by sacrificing yourself, you have escaped the million-year divine calamity. Don't worry, I have no ill intentions towards you. Although the god realm does not welcome your soul beasts to become gods directly, you can become the companion beast of another god. But it is reasonable and legal. Even if it is me, there will be no penalty. After hearing this, Qian Mengbingsi was no longer afraid. Of course, it was not because the man in front of him said he would not punish it, but because he said that there were only 3 souls here. However, there are obviously 4 of them, and there is also the eldest sister, a descendant of Nu. In other words, this god cannot sense the eldest sister he recognizes at all. With such a backer, there is nothing to be afraid of. Ah, you are Lord Shura God? Tianlin asked, saluting the man. Child, you actually know me. This time it was God Shura's turn to be surprised. Tianlin nodded. I know that this city of killing is actually the inheritance place of 2 gods. One is the Rakshasa god and the other is the Shura god. The Rakshasa god is in charge of evil thoughts, but I don't feel any malice from you. And you told brother Qian Meng about the laws of the divine world as soon as you came up, and also stated that you would not punish it. Then it must be the Shura god who is in charge of order and judgment. Haha, yes, you are a little clever. You guessed my identity through my words. God Shura nodded with satisfaction. His successor cannot be a simple reckless man. Otherwise how can he control order fairly and strictly? You just said that I'm a child from another world. Are you here to send me back to my original world? Tianlin suddenly became nervous. He did not expect that God Shura actually knew everything about him. To be honest, he didn't want to walk in the original world. He had no family and could only live alone. But here, he has countless relatives and partners, and even more lovers, whom he can't bear to leave. God Shura saw Tianlin's sadness and shook his head. You misunderstood. I will not send you back, because you no longer belong to the original world, but completely belong to this Douluo Continent. You are not taking your body with you. Instead of traveling back and forth, you are reborn in our world. In addition to memories, the origin of your soul and body are all reborn in this world. You are a part of our world, and you no longer need to regard yourself as an outsider. Besides, since you came to this world, you have not committed any crime, nor have you made any crazy moves to destroy the world. You have been trying to live your own life. I'm in charge of the law, and will not punish innocent people. Hearing this, Tianlin finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you very much, Lord Shura God. It seems that like Tang-san, he is a legal time traveler who can inherit the position of local gods, so he doesn't have to be sent back. But you are a little different from another outsider. In addition to coming here on your own, you seem to have brought a lot of incredible things with you. Remember to take back all those things after you become a god. Otherwise, once you live in the world, people will definitely ignore them. All the fights have caused countless bloody storms. God Shura warned. Tianlin knew what he was talking about. It must be those spiritual pearls and divine swords. Yes, Lord Shura God. Wait for me. Tianlin was about to promise, but suddenly paused. Lord Shura, did you just say, wait until I become a god? God Shura's expression became serious. Have you noticed? Yes, I'm here to extradite you to become a god. Now tell me, young man, are you willing to accept my assessment and inherit my divine status? Chapter 245 9 Tests of Shura. God Shura's words made Tianlin and Mengbinken stunned for a moment. Although they came for this purpose, when the real inheritance of the divine throne was in front of them, they were a little unbelievable. Seeing that Tianlin didn't reply, God Shura asked again, answer me, are you willing to inherit my throne? Tianlin was awakened by this question and hurriedly said, of course I do, Lord Shura God, I'm willing to inherit your throne, and I will definitely try my best in my life to pass your assessment. Very good. God Shura nodded with satisfaction and shouted, the 9 tests of Shura are coming. In the city of Slaughter, a sword-shaped mark that originally existed on the forehead of the Slaughter King suddenly disappeared, which meant that God Shura had completely judged that he had failed the assessment point originally. According to the rules of the 9 Ashura tests, Tang Chen, who failed, would inevitably die. However, seeing that the reason for his failure was being plotted by other gods, the Ashura god only withdrew the Ashura divine power and the Ashura demon sword from him, and let him go. The King of Slaughter also sensed the disappearance of Shura's divine power in his body, but he didn't care. After all, he was not the real Tang Chen, but the blood-red 9-headed Bat King. Tang Chen's assessment had nothing to do with it, as long as this body was still just be controlled by it. A dark golden light fell from the sky and integrated into Tianlin's body. At the same time, a small sword-shaped symbol appeared on his forehead. 9 cards were lined up in front of Tianlin. This was the entire content of Shura's 9 tests at this time. The first card flashed, and a voice sounded in Tianlin's mind. The first of the 9 Ashura examinations. Travel through the Hell Road and obtain the Killing God domain. The time limit is 3 years. If you pass, the Ashura god's affinity will increase by 100%. 5. Tianlin was stunned and asked doubtfully, Lord Shura God, in the field of killing gods, isn't it just to obtain the qualifications for the divine examination? How come you are ranked first in the examination? God Shura was a little embarrassed. This inheritor knew a lot. He tried hard to maintain his image and said solemnly, my assessment is determined by me. If you pass the first test, please check the second test quickly. Listening to his righteous nonsense, Tianlin couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, he had read the original work and knew that this Shura god had actually lost all his shame. In order to pass on his divine status in the original work, in order to squeeze out the god's throne, he first competed with Poseidon for the successor, but because Tang Sen still chose Poseidon, he directly used Xiao Wu as a Shura scabbard and forced it on Tang Sen. As for the 9 tests of Shura that should have been conducted under the laws of the god realm, didn't Tang Sen and his great-grandfather complete the 8 tests? Although the gap between generations is quite large, it can still be regarded as a kind of son inheriting his father's legacy. During the divine examination, he was even able to do things like taking the exam on his behalf, exploiting loopholes in the rules, commonly known as bugs. It can be seen that God Shura has lost his face for the sake of freedom, not to mention that he is just starting a small business now. He didn't care at all. Tianlin picked up the second black card and said, the second test of Shura God, go alone to kill the dark gold terror claw bear and avenge Xianmeng ice silkworm. The time limit is 1 year. What, you want me to kill the dark gold terror claw bear alone within a year? Tianlin said in surprise. This is almost an impossible task. The dark gold terror claw bear is one of the 10 most ferocious beasts in the soul beast realm. Its cultivation level is equivalent to that of a 96th level human super Douluo, but its actual combat power is enough to match that of a 96th level human. A strong person around level 7 to 98. The ultimate metallicity gives it extremely terrifying offense and defense, and the blood of the behemoth beast gives it a tyrannical physique. The most unfortunate thing is that its cultivation level is currently 460,000 years old, but Tianlin hopes that it is 490,000 years old, so that he can kill it with the help of heavenly tribulation, like he hunted behemoth on Earth. But now, phantom water thunder is simply strengthening the enemy's resources to deal with it. Are you afraid? My god is the master of killing. Naturally, the assessments are all about killing. I'm not like that guy from Poseidon, who will train the inheritors to improve their strength. If you fail to pass my assessment, you will die. We must have this awareness. God Shura said coldly. Even if he releases the water, he will still have to endure the hardships that a successor should have. After all, his is a God King level. Tianlin took back the remaining 8 cards from the 9 tests of Shura and said confidently, Lord Shura God, don't worry. Ever since I came to the city of killing, I have long had the awareness that I will die if I fail. No matter how difficult your test is, I will do it. It will be done. God Shura then smiled with satisfaction. Very good. Work hard, my successor. After God Shura finished speaking, the murderous body immediately dispersed. Tianlin took a closer look and found that he had left that space and came to a forest outside, killing. God Realm. Tianlin tested his God of Killing domain. Perhaps because of the Shura God exam, his God of Killing domain was a little different from others. The initial effect of the Killing God domain is to weaken the enemy's strength by 10% and increase one's own strength by 10%. This amount will gradually increase as the user's level and murderous intent increase. But my own God of Killing domain initially weakens the enemy and increases itself by 20%, making it twice as strong. In 2 years, Tianlin's combat effectiveness has improved significantly. Then he flew out of the forest with his sword and returned to the Ice and Fire Eyes. First point, the aura given to Blue Silver King had long been consumed, but the effect was very good. The Blue Silver King had now recovered to nearly 8,000 years of cultivation. Tianlin would always remember his promise, and he continued to give Blue Silver King Wang added enough Holy Spirit bead aura to allow him to practice for several months. 3 days later, Qibao Glazed Sect Point. After 2 years, Tianlin finally returned to his home. Are you young Master Tianlin? Seeing Tianlin becoming taller and more handsome, the disciple guarding the gate asked excitedly. Yes, I haven't seen you for a long time. I'm back. Tianlin smiled. No need to make a big fanfare. Are Uncle Ning and the others here? I'll go find them myself. They are all here. The sect leader and several elders have already given instructions. If the young master comes back during this period, please go directly to them. Okay, come with me. Tell me about the development of the sect in the past 2 years. On the way, Tianlin nodded and walked into the sect. Although the Qibao Glazed sect seems to have not changed much compared to 2 years ago, but everyone is very different. From that disciple's account, Tianlin learned that, since he cleaned up the sect's moths, Yin Yang had stepped up his management, and now the sect's interior was a mess. Ning Rangrang was officially appointed as a successor to the sect leader. On the first day she took office, she taught the Shushan entry movement skills that Tianlin taught her for the first time to the direct disciples of the sect. This was allowed by Tianlin. Increase the survival rate of these auxiliary soul masters on the battlefield. In addition, the hidden weapons from Tangsun have also been produced in large quantities, and almost every direct disciple is equipped with Zhuge divine crossbow, innuendo, and silent sleeve arrows. Many families affiliated with the attack system are also equipped with flying divine claws to make up for their weakness in speed. When he walked to the inner gate, Tianlin asked the disciple to go back first, because he saw the person he missed so much. Ning Rangrang was sitting alone by the pond at this time, seeming to be counting something. Tianlin walked in and saw that she was breaking off the petals of a flower and muttering, Brother Jian will come back today. Brother Jian will not come back today. There used to be a flower garden next to the pond, but now it is almost completely bald. It can be seen that Ning Rangrang is doing the same thing almost every day. While Tianlin was thinking about her, why didn't she miss Tianlin? Chapter 246, Returning to the sect and the growth of everyone. Rangrang. Tianlin finally couldn't help calling her name softly. Ning Rangrang turned her head in disbelief and said in surprise, Brother Jian, it's really you. She stood up and walked towards Tianlin step by step, faster and faster, and finally threw herself directly into Tianlin's arms. Bad guy, why have you been gone for so long? I'm worried about you every day. What? Was a surprise one moment turned into resentment the next. During the 2 years in the killing city, Tianlin was in a life and death struggle every day, but in fact, Ning Rangrang, who was always outside, was the one he was most worried about. She couldn't eat well, couldn't sleep, didn't think about food or tea, and felt restless. This was her state in the past 2 years. Sorry, wrong. I came back late. Don't worry, after this time, I will take you with me wherever I go. Tianlin solemnly promised. Compared with any sweet words, these words are the most reassuring to girls. Leaning in Tianlin's arms, Ning Rangrang said with satisfaction, then you must remember that you must keep your word. Of course, Tianlin perfectly adheres to the absolute truth that countless women have come to sum up. It doesn't matter if a man's mouth is deceptive, but if one day he has to go to a dangerous place, he will definitely be able to throw Rangrang as far away as he can. Throw it as far as you can. The worst thing you can do is spend a little more time coaxing her and get bitten by her a few more times. Brother Jian, I miss you. Ning Rangrang in her arms suddenly raised her head and looked at Tianlin with watery eyes. Since their engagement, they have never done anything apart from the most distant things, and some ordinary intimate behaviors have become commonplace. Tianlin naturally knew what she meant, smiled, leaned his head over, and kissed her thin lips. The two of them wantonly made up for their missing each other in the past 2 years. Ahem. At this moment, an inappropriate cough sounded from behind, frightening the two of them to separate quickly. It turned out to be Mahanjan, a little fat guy who didn't understand the situation. He had lost a lot of weight in the past 2 years, and it seemed that he had been tortured by teacher Kinming. Boss, I just met the gatekeeper disciple who said you were back, so I came over quickly to have a look. It turns out it's true. I'll fight. Mahanjan was about to show off his badass skills when suddenly someone flew up and kicked him away. You fat single person with no eyesight. If I didn't want to disturb the happy reunion between the boss and the eldest sister, is it your turn to be the first to say hello to the boss? Let me tell you again, the position of boss and chief junior is mine. Haha, Duran, you seem to be doing well. Good brother, you are almost reaching level 60. Tianlin smiled and greeted him. Among so many people, except for Rangrang, his parents and his master, what I miss most is the brother with whom I have the strongest relationship. I'm at level 59. I've just reached the level where you, boss, participated in the Soul Master competition 3 years ago. This is all thanks to your fairy herbs, boss. Duran said sheepishly. The immortal product is only an aid, and what's more important is your own efforts. However, the others seem to be catching up. Tianlin praised him and looked at the people behind Guran. Oscar, Meng Yiren, and Yilingling were also there. They formed a small group within the sect like Huangdao and the Shrek 7 monsters, and they usually practiced together. Although Guran worked hard, his talent was still not as good as the geniuses of these original protagonists. Mahanjan, who is not lazy, is already level 53 at this time. He has jumped up to level 12 in 3 years. With this terrifying progress rate, there is absolutely no problem in reaching level 60 within 2 years. As expected, it is different if there is someone supervising him. It is not like before. While everyone else in Shrek was level 60 or above, he was still level 57, which was a bit of a stretch, considering that his qualifications were among the best among the original protagonists. In addition, Oscar is already level 52. After all, he does not have the fairy grass, so his talent is definitely slightly worse than in the original work. Fortunately, with the help of Tianlin's medicine hall, the difference is not too much. Because Yilingling is older than them, she has reached level 57. As for Ning Rangrang, level 56 is almost catching up with Yilingling. Meng Yiren, on the other hand, has gradually distanced himself from them due to his limited talent. He is now only level 49, which is slightly behind level 50, just a hair's breadth away. By the way, boss, the sect master and the others have already ordered you to meet them as soon as you come back. Duran reminded. Tianlin nodded. I understand. You and Rangrang should also go with me. I have some things to explain to you. Go. Ran and Ning Rangrang were also the most upright disciples of the Qibao Glazed sect. They were also qualified to know the sect's future plans in advance. Boss, let's meet again at Zulinzuking in Haoshan. That is now our secret base. Oscar said with a smile. Zhu Zuking is now isolated from the world. As friends, only they can often accompany her to make her feel less lonely. Okay, see you later, Tianlin. bid farewell to everyone for the time being, and led Ning Rangrang and Guran towards the Qibao Hall point after the gatekeeper disciple reported. Ning Fengxi and several sect protector Douluo were already waiting there. Due to emotion and reason, Tianlin could not let them wait too long. Master, Uncle Ning, and some grandpas, I'm back. As soon as he entered the hall, Tianlin saluted the 5 people sitting on top. They were the few who knew where they were going, like Ning Rangrang. I'm afraid the worries in my heart are no less than hers. Okay, just come back. You have grown taller in the past 2 years. Ning Fengxi was only excited at this time, and he was not as wise as before. After all, he was his son-in-law, but in order to make up for Tianlin's character flaws, he reluctantly let Tianlin go to that dangerous place. Fortunately, Tianlin did not disappoint him, and succeeded in fighting his way out of that place. Shenzhen on the side was no less happy than him, but he was a little confused. Xiaoshan, is the place you are going to really a killing city? Tianlin's temperament is very different from before. Not only has the murderous aura in his body not increased, but it is actually worse than it was 2 years ago. Is this the image of a person who comes from a killing city? They still remember how crazy Tang Heo was when he just came out of there. He would kill people at every turn. He couldn't suppress his murderous intention at all. It took him a long time to stabilize point, but at this time, Tianlin was a little too calm, looking almost like a novice soul master who had never touched a human life on his hands. Tianlin did not explain, and directly released his god of killing domain. The extremely terrifying murderous aura covered the entire Qibao Hall, making people feel chilled all over. Guran, who was the closest, couldn't help but take a few steps back. He was frightened by his boss. Ning Rangrang didn't react at all. Of course, it wasn't that she wasn't afraid, but she didn't feel any murderous intent at all. Tianlin used distraction control to completely avoid her when spreading his murderous aura. He was not willing to scare his fiancée. Chapter 247. The best is like water. What a terrifying murderous aura. It really belongs to the realm of the god of death. Yin Yang had experienced the threat of this realm in a short distance, and he felt deeply about it. Although Tianlin's domain power at this time was not as powerful as Tang Heo's, let alone Shenzhen's 7 kills domain, they could clearly feel that Tianlin's domain still had huge room for improvement, surpassing Shenzhen's Tang Heo. It's just a matter of time. Master, my holy spirit bead contains incomparable power of goodness. Under its influence, I can always keep my heart clear when I keep killing in the killing city. Therefore, although my murderous intention continues to increase, my murderous intention is still strong. But I can control it perfectly, and even compared to before, I can restrain all my murderous intent. Tianlin explained. This realm is where the best is as good as water. Shenzhen said in shock. Water is good for all things, and does not fight for it. It is disliked by everyone, so it is close to the Tao. What Shenzhen hopes most is that his disciples can reach this state as soon as possible. Ning Fengxi and Shenzhen looked at each other and said with a wry smile, Uncle Jian, it's a blessing that we signed up Xiaoshan for Yuxuan's etiquette tutoring class. Unexpectedly, he directly skipped this step and reached such a state. It seems that he is a genius. The way of cultivation is indeed different from that of us normal people. Ning Fengxi thought of the same method as Tang Heo in the original work, using etiquette and music to calm the people who came out of the killing city. After that, I had to go to Mrs. Yu, the leader of Yuxuan, to apologize. After all, they told her that Tianlin would come out of the killing city, which would be more difficult to deal with. Mrs. You must have made full preparations to wait for Tianlin, but now she was left to do all the work in vain. The identity of Mrs. Yu is not simple. Her real name is Tang Yuhe. She has been a good friend of Emperor Zhuyi for many years. She has been responsible for teaching etiquette to the descendants of the royal family and the children of various noble families. This is nothing. The important thing is that she is from the Haoshan sect. Apart from Tang Heo and Tang San, he was the only disciple of the Haoshan sect who was still in the outside world. Not many people knew this secret, and Ning Fengxi happened to be one of them. The Haoshan sect has been closed for many years, but the only ones who have maintained some contact with them are the Qibao Glazed sect and the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus clan, both of which are the top 3 sects. The messenger in the middle is Tang Yuhua. Ning Fengzi had written to the Haotian sect through her several times, and it was almost time to persuade them to leave the mountain. Unfortunately, he never got a reply, so he had no choice but to use Tang Hao and his son to lure them out. Before that, he had to at least find out the location of Haotian sect. Yu Zuan, Tang Yuhua? When Tianlin heard them mention Yu Zuan, he naturally thought of Tang Yuhua. Although this person was very weak, his EQ and IQ were extremely high. Otherwise, even Ning Fengzi would not be able to find out half of the news about the Haotian sect from her. I don't know how she usually passes the news back to the sect. Even a smart person like Ning Fengzi can hide it. There is no way to track and monitor her. Tianlin thought in his mind. Tang San did not go to the killing city like the original work, so he would naturally not come to Yuxuan again. In addition, the Blue Silver King sacrificed. His Blue Silver King could not be awakened, and his strength was simply insufficient. In this case, Tang Hao he may not be able to trust Tang San to return to the sect. After all, Tang Hao knew how much the elders in the sect hated him. If Tang San didn't show enough talent, not only would he not be recognized by them, but he might be punished by them because of himself. Then Tang Zhao they may not be able to stop the angry elders and to show talent. Having twin martial spirits alone is not enough. After all, if the flaws of the twin martial spirits are not overcome, the second martial spirit will be nothing. Tang San's current physical fitness is too far behind. It is estimated that Tang Hao at this time is still searching for soul bones and the method of the Blue Silver Emperor's second awakening all over the world. It is already impossible for Tianlin to find the Haotian sect by sensing Tang San's location. And Tang Yuhua is a breakthrough point. The soul hunting operation is approaching. If Wuhan Palace learns about Haotian sect's refuge at this time and thinks they are just a dual Douluo, I don't know what interesting things will happen. Whether it was the Haotian sect that was wiped out in one fell swoop, or the people sent by Wuhan Palace were wiped out, no matter what, it would not be harmful to their 7 treasures. Glazed sect. Thinking of this, Tianlin cupped his hands and said, Uncle Ning. Master, although I don't need to take this etiquette class, but due to emotions and reasons, I should personally apologize to the master of Yuxuan. After all, are we like the same spirit? It's not good to play tricks on her like this. Well, that's what you said. Xiandao City is not far from here. You can go there tomorrow. Durang didn't hear anything. He just agreed with Tianlin's statement. Ning Fengzi, on the other hand, narrowed his eyes. Tianlin seemed to have said the words Tanqi Lianzi just now. It seemed that the child had gotten the information from somewhere and already knew Tang Yuhua's true identity. I'm afraid that the apology is fake and the trouble is real. Xiaoshan, remember, don't overdo it. Ning Fengzi warned. Several others thought he was telling Tianlin to come back early and not play around in the city. Only Tianlin understood. Ning Fengzi had roughly guessed his intention. Don't worry, Uncle Ning, I'll play until I want to. If you want to play, I'll come back and share it with you right away. Hearing this, Ning Fengzi nodded with satisfaction. He knew that Tianlin had heard what he meant. The brain circuits of these husband-in-laws were obviously not on the same level as those 4 titled Douluo who only knew how to fight. By the way, old monster, it's time to return this to you. Tianlin took out a bead from his arms and threw it to Douluo. Douluo reached out to catch it. This was the inner elixir that contained half of his own strength. Haha, how are you, little monster? Did my inner elixir help you along the way? Of course there is. Thanks to your inner elixir, the difficulty of passing the hell road has been reduced by at least 30%. Tianlin smiled. I won't say thank you to you anymore. If I have a chance in the future, I will definitely give you one. A big return gift. Douluo was relieved in his heart. The little monster was still the same little monster. The killing city may have changed some of his womanly shortcomings, but it did not change his character. If others were kind to him, he would definitely repay him with 10 points. Tianlin informed several people about the situation in his killing city, including the fact that he had found the inheritance of the gods. This greatly surprised Ning Fengzi and others. They seemed to see a god belonging to their 7 treasures glazed sect. Seems of covering the world with his divine power. After the report, Tianlin took Ning Rangrang and Guran to say goodbye to Ning Fengzi and others, preparing to leave the Qibao hall. Just as he reached the gate, Ning Fengzi suddenly thought of something and shouted anxiously, "By the way, Zhao Ocean, your room is cleaned every day, and the calendar is updated every day." Tianlin paused for a moment, then turned around and said, "I know. Thank you Uncle Ning for reminding me." As expected, Ning Fengzi was still concerned about the soul hunting operation. Calculating the time, the move was almost ready to be used again. Chapter 248 Reunion. "Boss, you called me, and eldest sister over here. Didn't you say you have something to explain?" After leaving the hall, Duran asked doubtfully. This time, he just came to pay his respects. It seemed that they were not needed at all. Tianlin smiled. "Actually, it's nothing. It's just that I prepared gifts for you and Rangrong, but not for others, so I have to call you out alone." Although Tianlin's partiality is no longer a day or two, he still has to act fair and just to the outside world and just keep his selfish actions in secret. With that said, Tianlin opened the soul guide and first took out a pitch black right arm bone. "Duran, this is a 10,000-year-old right arm bone. The soul skill is a restricted skill that turns one soul power into a chain. It can make up for your current shortcomings very well, so accept it. The soul bone is still 10,000 years old." "Thank you, boss." Duran took the soul bone tremblingly. He already had 2 soul bones. If he absorbed this one more, I'm afraid many titled Douluo would not have as many soul bones as him. For Tianlin, he was grateful from the bottom of his heart. In fact, Tianlin helped him even more than his teacher Gurang. Without Tianlin, he would have fallen behind in the Imperial Dao point, but now, not only did he not lose, but he was ranked among the best. This was all due to the fairy grass, skills, many soul bones, and phantom water thunder that Tianlin gave him. We brothers don't have to be so polite. After absorbing the soul bone, your soul power should reach 60. You can consider the 6th soul ring. "Yes, boss, don't worry, I won't let you down." Duran took the soul bone and left happily. Such an important treasure naturally had to find a safe place to absorb it. "Brother Jian, is my gift also a soul bone?" Ning Rangrang stretched out a hand and asked Tianlin for it without any politeness. She really had nothing to be embarrassed about towards her future husband. "It's not a soul bone, but it's no less precious. This is it, the most powerful attack spell I've developed, Demonic Flame Flash Slash." Tianlin put a talisman in Rangrang's hand. The talisman he had developed in order to hunt down the giant beast behemoth was useless because of the 100,000-year calamity. But no one there could pose a threat to him, so it has been idle until now. Demon Flame Flash Slash. "Is this the talisman that Brother Giant said could kill titled Douluo?" Ning Rangrang exclaimed. For a soul master of her current level, this talisman is indeed more precious than soul bones, because that is equivalent to giving yourself an extra life. So, Rangrang, you have to be careful when using it. This thing is difficult to make. Tianlin rubbed her hair and smiled. Anyway, for him, no matter how precious the demon flame flash slash is, it is not as valuable as Rangrang Wing's safety point. Besides, he had planned to try to make another one. After all, the second test of Shurigod was to kill the 460,000-year-old dark gold terror claw bear. I'm afraid that the magic flame flash slash made at level 60 is no longer of much use, and I still have to wait until level 70 to make a stronger one. I have had a successful experience, and if I'm familiar with the road, the probability of completion is quite high. Okay, then I have to go down the mountain first. I haven't been back for 2 years, so I have to go back to visit my parents first. After giving the gift, Tianlin prepared to leave with his sword point. At this moment, Ning Rangrang grabbed Tianlin's hand and said, "Brother Jian, don't leave yet. I also have a surprise for you." With that said, she took Tianlin's arm and ran. Tianlin was pulled by Ning Rangrang to his yard. He didn't know what surprise Ning Rangrang was talking about, but it didn't hurt to wait for a while. As soon as they entered the yard, they heard Ning Rangrang shouting loudly, "Uncle, Aunt, come out quickly, Brother Jian is back." Hearing her voice, 2 figures ran out of the room. It was Jun Xianhei and Emma Lan. "Shiana, Emolan hugged Tianlin into his arms and said with tears in his eyes, "It's great that you are finally back from your experience. Mother misses you so much, too." Tianlin's cultivation level is not that important. As long as he is safe and sound, it is her greatest comfort. "Father, mother, why are you here?" Tianlin was excited and confused. He had wanted to bring them to live in the sect more than once before, but they couldn't get used to it. Each time, they would go back down the mountain within a few days. Went to the village. It was Sect Master Ning who came to pick us up in person. Jun Xianhei stepped forward to explain. He said that as your skill increases day by day, your reputation is also getting bigger and bigger. If we continue to stay in a place where no one is protecting us, it is very likely that become a target for others to attack you. So we followed him and came to live here. Tianlin nodded. Ning Feng's worries were justified. No matter how close Qibao village was to the sect, it would take time to get their point with the cultivation level of Tianlin's parents. The hostile force could randomly send a strong man and kidnap them within a minute. What should Tianlin do then? Are you still used to living here? Tianlin asked. Haha, it was a little bit at first, but it doesn't matter. Rong is here. Sect Master Ning really gave birth to a good daughter. She is also the best daughter-in-law. She comes to chat with us every day. Emolan let go of Tianlin and took Ning Rong over. She really liked Ning Rong and always wanted Ning Rong to call them father and mother directly. But girls are thin-skinned. Even though she spent a year coercing and tempting, Ning Rong was still embarrassed to call them father and mother. Exit. It seems that this title can only be reserved for after they officially get married. Thank you, Rong. Tianlin held Ning Rong's hand. For him, there was really no bigger surprise than this. Ning Rong was a little embarrassed by what they said. It's nothing. There are uncles and aunts. My father has said that you can just call him by his first name. It's too foreign to always call him sect leader Ning. This. Jun Xianhei and Emolan looked at each other. Facing Ning Fengzi, they really didn't dare to show too much enthusiasm. After all, there is such a disparity in status. Even with the help of the pills provided by Tianlin, Jun Xianhei has only managed to reach the 40 level soul sect realm over the years. Ning Fengzi is not only the sect leader of the second largest sect in the world, but also the master of the second largest sect in the world. As a titled Douluo, Jun Xianhei and his wife could not put themselves on the same level as Ning Fengzi, let alone be equals. Tianlin smiled helplessly. It seemed that it was because he had been an ordinary person for too many years and could not adapt to living with so many high-level people. Then he had to speed up his progress to become a god. There is no other reason. As long as he becomes a god, then Jun Xianhei and Emolan will be the parents of the god. No matter who they face, they will no longer need to be inferior to others. Chapter 249 Qiandao City Meeting Oslo. Tianlin reunited with his parents for a while, and Jun Xianhei, who learned about his current level, was almost frightened and speechless. He knew that his son's talent was very strong, but this was probably too much. He was only less than 18 years old, and his soul power was almost close to that of a soul saint. When he was 18 years old, he was only a teenager. The Soul Master, he believed that his son must have a genetic mutation, and he even thought of another possibility. It was not his son who had the genetic mutation, but himself. Maybe a certain generation of their Jun family ancestors were originally talented soul masters, but they became useless in his generation, and Tianlin is a normal phenomenon. Jun Xianhei thought very narcissistically, and at the same time he regretted not having more children. Otherwise his family might have become a famous soul master family. Now this hope can only be pinned on Tianlin and Ning Rong. So the couple has been urging Tianlin and Ning Rong to get married as soon as possible. But now Tianlin still has two big problems that have not been resolved before the wedding. The first was the soul hunting operation. After that day, he had the time to think about other things, and the second was the Sure God assessment. The difficulty of this second test is not small. You have to kill the dark gold terror claw bear alone. With that guy's strength, even Shenzin has to use all his strength to deal with it. In just 1 year, Tianlin really didn't know what method to use to kill it. Even if he made a stronger demon flame flash air slash, the chance of success was not very high point. In order to prevent them from worrying too much, neither of these two things could be told to them. In order to avoid his parents urging to get married, Tianlin had no choice but to run away. On the pretext of apologizing to the master of Yuxun, Tianlin temporarily left the clan. In Qiandao City, Tianlin was walking on the street. The place was still as lively as ever. He found that the capital of the Qiandao Empire was even more prosperous than 2 years ago. In the past, he could see nobles oppressing civilians from time to time, but today, along the way, the nobles and civilians were clearly distinguishable. When these nobles passed by the roadside, they still looked extremely arrogant. They still looked down on the common people as before, but they no longer trampled on them wantonly. What happened? Have these guys changed their behavior in the past 2 years? Tianlin was puzzled. Ocean. At this moment, someone called him excitedly. Tianlin looked back and saw that it was Oslo. Long time no see. Oslo, Osloban, was from a small noble family in the Qiandao Empire. Tianlin was not surprised at all when he appeared here. Ocean, where have you been in the past 2 years? We Huangdao haven't come back from several gatherings. Do you know how worried everyone is about you? Oslo stepped forward and walked around Tianlin for a few times, taking pictures for a while. He patted his shoulders and touched his chest for a while, as if checking his body. Well, no problem, he's very strong. Tianlin knocked his palm away helplessly. Of course it's no problem. I went to the mainland to practice, and I didn't go there to fall. Hey, Oslo, where are you going? You're dressed so brightly. Tianlin then noticed that Oslo's dress was different from usual today. Wearing a well-fitting tuxedo, he looks very gentlemanly. Of course we are going to Yuxun. Today is a public performance day in Yuxun that only happens once every few months. The top noble ladies of our Qiandao Empire are gathered there. Even Her Royal Highness Princess Zuke is studying there. No, I want to try my luck and see if I can survive there. Maybe I will meet my true love. Oslo replied sheepishly. Tianlin was stunned. Are you still single? Oslo's face darkened. Nonsense, I'm not like you, Xianheng, and you Feng, who have a scumbag face that attracts women, and I'm not like the Shi family brothers, who lost their reputation a long time ago. Virgin, although my family also bought me a few maids to sleep with me, I want to keep myself clean, and must dedicate my virginity to my true love. Tianlin didn't expect that this guy was quite principled, and he finally remembered it. No wonder he always felt that he had overlooked something 3 years ago. The relationship was with this miserable guy Oslo. To be honest, Tianlin saw that Oslo's level had reached around level 57 at this time, and he would be promoted to Sol Emperor in probably 1 to 2 years at most. Moreover, he also had a 30,000-year-old soul bone, so his future was limitless. With the appearance of a properly titled Douluo, for such a character, it shouldn't be difficult to win the favor of a noble girl, right? With doubts, Tianlin and Oslo rushed to Yuxun side by side. Only when they got there did he finally understand the reason why Oslo was not popular. As soon as he entered Yuxun, before the performance started, Oslo approached the girls one after another. Hey, Miss Finna, what kind of perfume have you sprayed recently? It has the fragrance of roses and the freshness of mint. Miss Kyria, your skin is getting better and better. Please share with me your skincare tips sometime. Her Royal Highness Princess Zuke, you are truly worthy of being the princess of our Qiandao Empire. Your beauty simply eclipses the stars in the sky. The corner of Tianlin's mouth twitched. It turned out that this guy's so-called search for true love meant casting a wide net to catch more fish, and he could see that those noble women actually didn't hate Oslo. After all, Oslo is a noble and powerful, so they have no reason to be hostile to him. However, they all seem to regard Oslo as a good sister. When communicating with him, they are simply talking to themselves. Best friends get along just fine. Oslo, this idiot, has set up his personality wrong. It's crazy that he can find a love like this. Tianlin helplessly helped his forehead. His move attracted the attention of those noble girls. Even in Yuxun, they rarely saw such a handsome boy. One of the girls asked with spring eyes. Oh, Oslo, why don't you introduce us to him? Who is this person you brought? He Is my little follower a passerby? Oslo opened his eyes decisively and told lies. He already regretted it. When he came with Tianlin, the girl's eyes did not focus on him. If brother Tianlin can only be regarded as a follower, then I'm afraid you, Oslo, can be on an equal footing with my brother. A charming female voice laughed. It was Princess Zook. Long time no see, my god. Brother Lin, you are back from experience. You left without saying goodbye 2 years ago. Do you know how angry my eldest brother was, and sent many people around to look for you, but unfortunately there is no news from you. Tianlin has known Zuking for many years, and naturally knows Princess Zuke, but they are not very close to her. However, for Zuking's sake, Zuke has always been very polite to him. Chapter 250 Lord of Yuxia and Tang Yuhe. Long time no see, your highness princess. Tianlin didn't have any bad feelings towards Zuke. Perhaps it was because she had been learning etiquette from Tang Yuhe. She was not as arrogant as other nobles, but rather polite. She has a famous saying, nobility is not engraved on a person's skin, nor does it flow in a person's blood. It is a medal earned by your trading goods. In fact, before Zuke entered Yuxia to study, she could be said to have been raised by Qin Ringsu. Tianlin also didn't understand why Qin Ringsu taught this princess so well. Inexplicably. Could it be that, after being brothers and sisters for more than 10 years, they have actually developed some feelings for each other? Zuke turned to the classmates behind him and said, let me introduce it to you. Oslo was just talking nonsense. In fact, this person is the pride of our empire. He was the soul of the Imperial fighter team and the youngest, Viscount, Sword Douluo's highest disciple, and my eldest brother's best brother, Jun Tianlin. Hearing this, everyone looked at Tianlin in surprise, and made a noble salute. Since the royal fighter team won the championship, all their members have received widespread attention. Therefore, even if Oslo is born into a small noble family, they are willing to make friends with the children of big nobles. After all, everyone can see the potential of each member of this team. How big is it, let alone Tianlin, who has always been the strongest among them? So, you are the Sword Lord. I have been so famous for a long time. At this moment, a gentle and pleasant voice came. I saw a graceful and beautiful woman slowly walking down the stairs, followed by 2 beautiful girls behind her. This beautiful woman looked like she was in her mid-20s, but her eyes seemed to see through everything in the world, and were filled with the light of wisdom. Tianlin had only seen this kind of light in Ningfeng's point. The long silver palace dress looked perfect on her body. Tangsun in the original work was not lying. Among all the women Tianlin had ever seen, only Bibi Dong's temperament could be compared with hers. You must be the master of Yuxia, Mrs. Yu. I'm Jun Tianlin. It was Uncle Ning who asked me to come to you. Tianlin said. Hearing this, Tang Yuhe was a little surprised. Ningfengzi did come here to register for Tianlin before, but he said at that time that Tianlin would be a person with extremely evil spirits and difficult to control his emotions. But now, she doesn't feel any tyranny in Tianlin at all. Fortunately, she has prepared a series of courses in advance to help Tianlin restrain his evil spirit. Mrs. Yu, I'm actually here to apologize to you and withdraw from the class. Tianlin apologized. In the 2 years I have been practicing, I have been able to completely control my anger, and there is no need to continue studying here. I can see that. Tang Yuhe smiled and nodded. She was not angry at all. In terms of self-cultivation, she was probably one of the best in the entire Douluo Continent. This is a letter from Uncle Ning to you. There are some important things to explain in it. The purpose of Tianlin's coming here was actually to hand over this letter in the name of apology. This letter was written by Ningfengzi himself. It explained very important things. A small part of it was even related to the soul hunting operation. Wuhan Palace wanted to integrate the sects of the world and would never allow Haoshan sect, the former the largest sect in the world, relies on the name of hiding from the world to protect itself. Tang Yuhe took the letter and looked at it. It was indeed very important information that she could not decide easily. However, she remained calm and said quietly, I have received the letter. Please thank Sect Master Ning for me later. Today is my Yuxian's performance day. Although you won't come here for class, you can still try to listen to the performance here. It is also very good for improving your mood. and today I'm going to go on stage in person. Then I'll be disrespectful. Tianlin had his own thoughts on Tang Yuhua's invitation. He and Oslo found a seat and sat down, waiting for the performance. To begin point, his real purpose was to see how Tang Yuhua planned to pass the news to Tang Xiao. There was no way she would not tell her elder brother such important news. But for so many years, neither the Xiandao royal family nor the Qibao Glazed sect have been able to find the Haitian sect through her. She must have extremely concealed means of transmitting messages. It cannot be as simple as passing the letter to someone and taking it back. Otherwise, as long as someone is following, and the Haitian sect has long been exposed. Point as the performance time approached, Yuxuan was already filled with nobles of all sizes, and Tianlin also saw Prince Zuxing among them. Point his eyes never moved away from Tang Yuhua's graceful body, and he had obviously been coveting her for a long time. This Prince Snowstar is still evil-minded. I heard that he once proposed marriage to Madame Yu, but she was rejected by Madame Yu. If Madame Yu didn't know about her deep background with this old pervert's character, he might not be able to marry him. Use force. Oslo whispered in Tianlin's ear. That's because Mrs. Yu has been my father's close friend for many years. Even the emperor's uncle would never dare to force her. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded behind the two of them. Tianlin couldn't help but stood up and said, "Brother Zhu, why are you here?" The person who came was none other than Zuking. At this moment, he was staring at Tianlin with burning eyes, as if he was nostalgic and angry. "Why am I here? Of course I'm here to see you. I left without saying goodbye 2 years ago. Where did you go?" "I also went to see the teacher and your master, but they just said that you went to practice, but they didn't tell me where." He came here specifically for Tianlin. Tianlin couldn't help but be surprised by his control over Xiandao City. He had only been in the city for such a short time, but he had already learned the news and came here to see him. Point in just 2 years, his power seems to have increased a lot. "Brother Zhu, don't be angry. I will explain these things to you later. The performance is about to begin now." Tianlin said sarcastically. Point he could completely imagine how long Zuking had been looking for him, how long he had been angry, and how long he had been worried. "Okay, follow me back to the East Palace later and explain everything clearly." Zuking was afraid that Tianlin would run away again, so he didn't intend to leave, so he just sat next to Tianlin. "Well, Your Highness the Prince, actually I didn't mean that just now. Your Highness the Prince is just a little flirtatious." Oslo looked at Zuking with some fear and spoke ill of his uncle in front of the prince. Being caught red-handed is a serious crime. "Oslo, you don't have to be so afraid. Don't I understand the character of my uncle? For Xiaoshan's sake, I won't care about it, but remember, trouble comes from the mouth, and if others hear me, but I can't save you." Zuking warned. Oslo breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. Yes, thank you, His Highness the Crown Prince." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.